when I play Path of Exile 2, I'm always like, wow, I'm looking forward to playing Last Epoch again.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm with Pixel Aptitude, Last Epoch content creator, does build guides, lore videos. Love it. I'm glad he's here with me today. How are you doing today, Pixel?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for the introduction. I've had a great day so far, and yeah, enjoying myself. Looking forward to this talk.
Great. I'm glad you could be here. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us. You have a YouTube channel. Where can they find you at there, Pixel?
Yeah, it's a YouTube channel. It's called Pixel Aptitude. You can possibly just click my logo below the video, or just click the subscribe button if you want. And yeah, that's the best way to stay in tune with my videos and the content I do. So yeah, check out my channel. Subscribe if you want, and yeah, we'll have a blast together.
Can't recommend them enough. Guys, go check them out. Make sure you hit the sub button and the bell button, and check out Pixel's amazing content. I think it's fantastic. And also, folks, if you have any questions for myself or Pixel, please put them in the comment section, and one or both of us will answer that as quickly as we can for you. Yeah, don't be afraid to interact with us. Ask questions. You know, tell Pixel he's cool. Tell everybody I'm a nerd. I don't care. But ask questions. We'll answer.
For sure.
Look, I'm going to try not to fanboy, but I found you, I think it was very late in season 2, beginning of season 3 of Last Epoch.
Yep.
And I was completely blown away by your videos. Like, I watch a lot of different build videos and how-tos when it comes to Last Epoch, and I feel that you are way above a lot of the people that I watch on there. So thank you for taking the time to come here and have a little chat.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm really humbled by it, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you about that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I think the praise is well deserved. You put in a lot of hard work on that stuff.
Yeah, I do for sure. But I mean, it's you're always kind of humbled about your own videos, and you always feel like they could be better, and you always want to be better as well. And you never really know if the audience like what you're doing as well. So hearing that is very nice. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, sir. You're very welcome. So I have to ask this, because we got to know who we're dealing with. So what are your favorite like movies, books, comics, or TV shows? What are you into?
Wow. Yeah. I've usually kind of during my entire life been quite interested in movies and TV shows. Not that much into books.
Okay.
But I've been watching a lot of videos, especially during my, I would say, like childhood to into my kind of first grown years, adult years. And I've always kind of been drawn to fantasy, which might not be a huge surprise in terms of what kind of games we're playing, but yeah, I've always really loved Lord of the Rings and the trilogy movies there, and that's always been my favorite movies. And actually, the first movie, The Fellowship of the Ring, actually got me to reading Lord of the Rings as well. So, and I'm not a book guy, so I would say Lord of the Rings is definitely my favorite books as well. So yeah, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And I think I've watched those movies like at least 20 times each, if not more. Yeah, so huge fan.
I mean, you really can't pick a better fantasy setting than Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's an amazing fantasy setting. The books are great. The movies are fantastic. I think my favorite part of those movies, I mean, everybody is going to be very quick to point out the action and the acting and everything like that. But one of my favorite things of those movies is the score, the music scoring is phenomenal. And then just
for sure,
the audio design. Oh my God, it makes it's practically one of the biggest parts of the movie, and nobody gives it any recognition, at least in my opinion. I love the sound design.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what's so great about those movies is, I mean, it's so much soul in them, right? I mean, it was kind of just at that time where CGI was kind of being fully introduced into movies, like being kind of widely adopted into movies. But I think the Lord of the Rings movies really kind of showed the world how CGI should be made. And even to this day, I mean, what is it now? Kind of like 25 years ago since the first movie dropped. And I mean, even now, it's like it still sets the standards for CGI in some of the scenes, in my opinion, at least. So, and that's 25 years ago. So there was just so much soul poured into these movies that I really enjoyed. And so let's take the example of the Hobbit trilogy compared to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I think that kind of lacked that kind of soul that the Lord of the Rings trilogy has. I still think it's a great trilogy, but I mean, there's something just special about the Lord of the Rings trilogy that just fascinates me. And I think they used like 9 months just to build the Shire set, like from the ground up in New Zealand. And they just spent 9 months just building the set. So I think it's a huge kind of masterpiece, in my opinion. That's why I enjoy them so much. And the story and the setting and everything is just great.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Those are, in my opinion, timeless movies. I think our grandchildren will be watching those and be hopefully inspired by those movies because they're amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
They're amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I gotta stop saying so. We're here because obviously we're gamers. We love video games. We love them a lot. What game or collection of games like really hooked you and turned you into a gamer?
That's a tough question to answer, I think, because I think it's kind of twofold or maybe even multiple fold to put it that way, because I mean, from an early age, I was introduced to computers, and it's not the kind of the computers we have today, obviously. I mean, we had these huge floppy disks.
Yeah, you're talking about the big 5.5-inch flops.
Yeah, exactly. And everything was DOS based, like the games. So you had to run command lines and all that stuff just to install and launch the games and all that. So you were kind of introduced into the technical side of the computers as well from an early age, which was quite interesting. And I remember we played these old DOS games, and it was often text-based games. I remember, I think it was a trilogy called Hugo. It was kind of you typed. It was an adventure kind of point-and-click game, but you had to type in what the character should do. So I think there was a game called Hugo's Horror House or something. And you had to kind of check out the horror house and solve some kind of mystery. And you had to say, okay, go to the door, open the door, and then the character would do that in the game. And there were these insane puzzles that were really hard for, like, I don't know how old I was, like 7, 8 years old. So, and you could sit there for hours just kind of figuring out one command, and you didn't have these guides on the internet, right? So you had to figure out all yourself. So that's kind of my first memory of being introduced to games.
I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good one because, you know, for the younger generations that are watching, it wasn't always point and click. Like you couldn't just click on a program that you wanted to run. You couldn't just, point and click and tell your character to go somewhere. You had to use the keyboard, and you kind of had to know what you were doing to get the game to run, because you couldn't just click on it. You'd have to, in your command prompt, Oregon Trail.exe, and then you could run the game. It was a much simpler and different time for video gaming. That's for sure.
It was, for sure. Yeah, and you kind of had to learn all of these things yourself, because it was hard to come by information as well, right? I mean, it wasn't that common, at least in that stage, to kind of even have like a 56K modem or whatever at home. I think that was kind of introduced even a couple of years later, where that was becoming more common in households. So yeah, it was a different time.
I know you're from the other side of the ocean. You're from Europe. So I don't know about when it hit you guys, but and I lived in the Midwest just outside of Chicago. So it may, I don't know how fast it traveled, but 56K modems in the households, those at least here, they weren't really around until they weren't common until like the late 90s for us anyways. I don't know about you guys, but it was definitely late 90s.
I think it was probably kind of at least on the halfway to the late 90s. I think maybe a couple of years earlier over here, as far as I can recall, but I don't really have the facts in front of me. But at least I can remember the dialing up sound.
Oh yeah,
from connecting to the internet and stuff like that. But even then, if you were connected to the internet, it wasn't that kind of information as we have today available still. So yeah.
And also for you younger folks, when he was saying a text-based game, think about when you were in grade school reading the choose your own adventure books. It's kind of like that, except you had to type everything.
Yeah.
Old school, man. Old school.
Really old school.
Was Hugo your actual first game you ever played, or was there a different game prior to that was your first game?
It might have been, but at least that's kind of my first memory of the earliest game I played. So that's at least my first memory of what my first game, or at least somewhat of the first game, was. Yeah.
Now I feel a little uncivilized, because I think my first game ever, and it wasn't what hooked me into games, but like one of my first memories of video games was playing on an Atari. I don't remember which one, but it was I played it at a friend's house, and we played like Pitfall, Centipede, and Galga on there, and those were really my first like at home on a console on a TV video games for me that I can remember. And then Duck Hunt and Mario, but
we play those as well. Yeah, that was really popular, especially the Duck Hunts with the guns and everything.
Yeah, the light gun was amazing.
It was kind of special. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of really high tech, right? Where you could actually kind of shoot at the TV, and it would actually respond to where you were pointing, and hitting the ducks and all of that. That was kind of, that was huge.
If you want to watch a very interesting documentary, I'll try to find it and send it to you. It's like a 45-minute long documentary on Duck Hunt and how they got the light gun to work. It's really interesting. It's very, very interesting. I think it would be right up your alley.
Yeah. Send it over.
I'll try to find it and send it over to you. I was watching it and I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. It's very simple, but very cool.
Nice.
You kind of answered this, but I'm going to assume you were a PC guy first and not a console guy, or was it console and it kind of drug you into the PC, or what? How did that work out?
I'm not quite sure what came first, but it was definitely both.
Both.
That's for sure. I remember we drove up to the Play Store, the toy store. Is that what it's called? The toy store, maybe?
Yeah, we call it toy store, but I knew what you meant.
Toy store, yeah. And we actually rented like the old Nintendo, like for a weekend. That's kind of my first introduction to consoles, because it was really expensive to buy, right, and have in the households. And also I think parents were also a bit skeptical to that kind of new technology and what it did to kids. And I mean, we still see that today, right, with all of the screen time and stuff like that. So
Yes. Yeah.
Just that memory of my dad saying, today we're going to drive up there and rent that console. I mean, that was kind of like the most joyful moment of my life when he said that. So that's how special it was to actually have that console in the house, and we could rent 1 or 2 or 3 games. I don't remember exactly, but then we just played throughout the entire weekend and had a blast, right? So I definitely was a console guy, to put it that way, as well. But when I kind of grew a little bit older, like into my teens, it was more going towards PC for sure. And that's when I also first played my first ARPG.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll save my little anecdotal stuff for the next question, but I kind of had a similar thing. It was consoles first, and then early teens. I saw the PC light, the master race of gaming, and went, ooh, ooh, you can do so much more.
Right.
Ooh,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what game was it that introduced you to ARPGs?
Yeah. I mean, I came a little too late for getting into the Diablo release date. That was a little bit prior to my kind of first PC gaming moment by myself. So I kind of went in a year, I think, before Diablo 2 came out, something like that. But Diablo 2 is kind of the first real PC game that I can remember playing. Like the first WoW game is Diablo 2, and that was also my first introduction to ARPGs, and I was just blown away, like fully blown away. And at that moment, it was done. I mean, from that moment, it's always been not necessarily just ARPGs, but at least RPGs. I've always been drawn to that role-playing games kind of thing. So yeah, that's the first game I was introduced to in terms of ARPGs.
That's a hell of a first game for an ARPG.
It is.
I mean,
yeah, I think both of us kind of agree on this one, because we've talked a lot before. But yeah, there was just something special about Diablo 2. You can't put a finger on it, but kind of even now, just hearing the Tristan music and all of that, I mean, it just takes me back. It's so much nostalgia, and yeah, it was just a magical experience for me, at least.
I think it kind of goes back to what you said about the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. I think it goes right back to what you were saying, and it was just so much love, so much soul, so much creative passion just poured into that video game. Now, for me, I got introduced to Diablo, the original, by a friend, and I played over at his house, but I didn't really understand what I was doing until Diablo 2 came out, and I had played Diablo 1 and was like, I'll give it a shot. It should be pretty fun. And then I got Diablo 1, and the main menu comes up and that first cinematic hits you, and I just was absolutely blown away and got sucked straight into the whole Diablo universe. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And same like you, that kind of started me down that path of, before I didn't really look at games like other RPGs and was like, I got to get this. And it wasn't until I played Diablo and saw what you could do and how you can make a character your own that I was like, I need more of this. I need more.
That was exactly my feeling as well. And so I played Diablo 2 like for a long time. I mean, I played through, obviously, with all of the characters and tested many. I didn't think of it as builds at that time, because that was kind of like a concept that I didn't think about. But I was kind of trying I just call it skill combo. I mean, just trying all possible skill combos, different stuff, what works, what does not work, and just testing all of the different classes and stuff. And at the end, I mean, I was also kind of, I need more of this, right? It comes back to that kind of, we didn't have that much information, and there wasn't that many similar games at that time as well, and that you could kind of play. You had the previous Diablo, obviously, and you had this, what was it called? Planescape Torment. I think it's from the same developers. I'm not sure, but at least you had kind of these handful kind of ARPG similar types of games. But even then, it was hard to come by them. And I mean, they still cost money, and I was just like an early teen and didn't have that much money as well to buy games, right? So it was just a different time. I mean, now everything is so available, and we complain about seasons not coming after 3 months. And I mean, that wasn't kind of something you discussed back then. You were just happy to have one game and you played it for like a year,
Yeah.
if you had to. So yeah, it was just a different time. But and as I said, for me, it's not always kind of been only action RPGs. I've also enjoyed RPGs, and the game I switched to after Diablo 2 was Baldur's Gate 2. If you heard about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I found that game also to be just insanely good. I mean, and that's also like a huge game. It's not kind of an ARPG per se. It's more kind of Dungeons and Dragons. More, it wasn't turn-based. It was kind of like you could pause the game, but it wasn't turn-based. It was still kind of action-based, but you could still pause it. So it's kind of special in that way. But the story and the atmosphere there as well, and I mean, it had like 200 or 300 content hours of content if you kind of played through everything, and that was also like a really huge thing at that time to have such a huge game where you could play for so long. And even there, you could play through it like several times, and you could have all of these alignments like chaotic good, chaotic evil, lawful neutral. You could have all of these kind of alignments that you can pick from, and you could play like an evil character, a neutral character, a lawful good character, whatever you wanted to kind of. So you always had kind of these different options and these different choices when playing through. So even that content of 200 to 300 hours, you could multiply that by how many playthroughs you wanted to do, right? So that was also a huge game for me.
All of those games are really good. Like I after Diablo 2, now first off, let me admit something. Some of the people that are watching will know this. I have played Diablo 2. What has it been? How long has that game been out? 20 years? 25 years?
25 years, okay. I think, roughly, yeah.
I have played Diablo 2 on and off, mostly on, for the entire 25 years that it has been out. And I think this is the longest break I've ever taken from Diablo 2. And I'm nearing about 14 months since I last played it. And it's not because it's not good. It's just I've been playing other things. And it's a game that I will always come back to. And it's, once again, also no secret to those that might be watching. Whenever I buy a new PC, that is generally the first game I download. I like a new PC.
It should come pre-installed when you install it. when you order it from the manufacturer, please pre-install Diablo 2.
Oh, Scarred Spine? Okay, we'll just auto-load Diablo 2 for him, all right? We'll just give him a head start. But yeah, I mean, I just, that Diablo opened up this whole new world of ARPGs to me. So when I couldn't get an ARPG on the PC, I would immediately go to console and see if there was any ARPGs available there. So for me, I got pulled into games like, I think it was, I don't remember, I think it was on PlayStation 2. It may have been 3, but games like Champions of Norath, and I'm trying to remember a few others. There was a series of Marvel games where it was action RPG based, and it was, I think it was called X-Men Legends and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and then Ultimate Alliance 2 came out. So I was playing those, and then like you, I started getting into other RPGs, single player and multiplayer. But to keep it short, one of the first ones where I spent many thousands of hours in was probably Morrowind. Morrowind consumed me for quite a while. I like lived in that world. It was great. I loved it.
Wow. I mean, it's so weird that you say that because I played Morrowind so much. And I had the exact same feeling. I think it was released in 99, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So it was kind of a little bit before Diablo II then, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that was 2000 or 2001, yeah. And I mean, Morrowind, what a fantastic game.
Oh, great game.
I mean, you can't really describe it more than that, I think, because it's just simply fantastic.
It is,
in my opinion. And I played so many hours in Morrowind, and yeah, I was just blown away by that. And I think that was kind of the first, like this huge open world game that I played, and I was really blown away by that. And it was also the first person role playing game. I mean, I think you can also play in third person if you want. Like there's a button for it, but it's kind of default as first person, which was also kind of a weird experience because at first I was kind of reluctant to play it first person because it felt more like an adventure first person shooter kind of type of game when you're in that first person mode. But I mean, when I started playing it and kind of gave it a chance, I was just blown away immediately. It was just magnificent.
Before we move on, I gotta ask you this question: the first time you were in Morrowind, right? And you leave that first village. I can't even remember the name of it. It's been too long. And
yep.
You see how big the world is. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I was completely blown away at how huge this world was, and being able to see it in first person or in the third person when you changed the camera. But absolutely blown away that that they could even make anything that big for you to play in. It was just blew my mind.
Yeah, same here. And I mean, you can, I mean, all the stuff, all the caves, all the houses, everything you could go into, and it would kind of live its own life, right? You had these NPCs that kind of lived in the houses and had their kind of schedule during the day. I mean, even then, yeah, I mean, it was kind of paving way for other games, I think. It's kind of one of those groundbreaking games, if you can say that. I mean, it just, it kind of set the tone on how open world RPG, and not even RPGs, but just open world games in general should be. Yeah.
So, well, before we move on to the next question, I got one more, or well, maybe two questions for you. They're kind of off script. You said open world. Have you played the game Red Dead Redemption 1 or 2?
I played number 1. I didn't play number 2 because I think that was released kind of during one of my dry spells for gaming.
Okay.
But I did play number 1 and I really enjoyed it. But I've heard that number 2 is even better. So
it really is. It really is. Yeah. I was just gonna compare like you said, Morrowind, and there's probably other games. So chatters, don't kill me here. There's probably other games, but I also think that Morrowind, like you said, really, honestly, they just kind of kicked down the door and made, how do I say it? I don't think games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and other games like that would have been possible without the groundwork laid for that, with that game, with Morrowind.
That's kind of my perspective on it too. I mean, it's still just kind of a feeling, right? But I mean, that's at least the kind of impression that I hit with after playing that game that was kind of a door opener for, because you often see it when you get this kind of groundbreaking game that hasn't quite been done before, and then you see after that you have these explosions of the same games coming after that. So I remember after Morrowind, I think there was quite a few kind of open world games coming more and more after that.
Yeah.
And I think we also saw the same if we go back to the Lord of the Rings stuff, that we also saw after the Lord of the Rings movies, there were so many more kind of these fantasy epic movies coming out like a year or two after, because it kind of set the standard and paved the way for the entire industry, I think, in terms of that as well. So I think Morrowind kind of was somewhat the same for open world games, but that's just a feeling.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I got to ask you before we get into this next question, could you briefly tell me like what kind of ARPGs you've played, like the different titles? I mean, we're all here because of Last Epoch, so we know Last Epoch's going to get brought up, but and you brought up Diablo II, but have you played a pretty fair amount of other ARPGs along the way?
I would say yes. I've always tried to at least kind of be in the loop on ARPGs and try them out as they release. I don't know if there's too many noteworthy titles. I mean, there's been so many ARPGs that kind of has come and go, and some were just kind of like a one-time thing, and then they died out and stuff like that. But in terms of kind of the big ones, it was obviously Diablo II, and then I think kind of my next big one that is very known is Path of Exile.
Okay.
But obviously that was kind of, I think it was released at least 10 to 12 years later than Diablo 2.
Yeah,
I can't quite recall the first full release date, but at least I think I started playing it in 2013, I think. Path of Exile 1, yeah.
Okay. So you honestly, me and you were playing at roughly the same time.
Yeah.
Because
I played it. I played it a lot. I mean, not a lot in terms of what's often usual now in terms of play hours for ARPGs, but at least to me it was a lot. I spent like at least above 1,000 hours, and for me that was kind of a lot on that time, because I was in full-time job and stuff like that as well, and had quite much going in my personal life as well. So I was kind of, every free time I had was kind of Path of Exile, and it accumulated to quite the amount of hours. But then then it died out for me. I think I reached like 1,000 to 1,500 hours, and then life came and took me to something else. And that's kind of been my story ever since that, because I've always loved gaming, but I've had so much other stuff going in my life, and kind of going into my adult life and establishing myself in terms of career and family and all of that stuff. It takes time and effort and focus as well. So during that time, I didn't game too much. And it kind of picked up for the last years, I would say, like really picked up again. So, yeah.
See, ladies and gentlemen, what Pixel is trying to say is gaming responsibility. Like, you got to be responsible with your gaming. Family first, job, then gaming. The games will always be there, but sometimes you got to prioritize your stuff and make sure you take care of you and your family before you play video games. Nobody's saying you can't. You just gotta be responsible with your gaming.
Yeah, okay. I kind of agree with that, and I mean everyone's kind of got their whole different story and different lives and all of that. But for me, at least, I didn't have the physical time to do it, so yeah. I couldn't really game that much if I wanted to, right? Because then my entire life would fall apart. So it wasn't really a topic that I could game more than that. So yeah, that's how it was for me, at least.
I mean, so I'll give you a little bit of background. So I've started playing Path of Exile around 2013. because it was right around when my twins were born. So it was right around there. And when they were small and were sleeping all the time, I could play video games, right? And
Yep.
I had a pretty stable job and a pretty stable schedule, so I had the free time to play video games. And I'd say it was about a year and a half in, it was okay, I can't keep up with, because we all know how Path of Exile is, right? A new season starts, you got to rush the character, get to the end game, start farming equipment for the real build that you want to play, et cetera, and it just became too much to keep up with. And a lot of people can say, well, just play standard league. It wasn't the same, it didn't feel the same, so I had to put it down. And you know, a handful of years later, it's kind of the same thing. I got introduced to Escape from Tarkov. I know that's not everybody's game. I understand, but I got introduced to that, and it was kind of the same thing. I had a lot of fun with it. It was super fun. There would be a wipe, and everybody would start over, and I would be able to keep up for about a weekend or two, depending on how my days off lined up. And then it was back to the grind, back to working, taking care of family, etc. And then by the time I came back, it was, oh, everybody's got, you know, I don't know, this might be Greek to you, Pixel, but everybody's got level 4 traders. They got their hideout maxed out. They're making AP rounds, and here's me with my, you know, crap gear, crap armor, and just getting absolutely bodied in the lobby. And it never made me hate the game. It just made me say, you know what, I can't play this right now. I don't have the time. Life comes first.
Life comes first for sure, but then what you're describing now is kind of the fall of a casual gamer, sort of, because
yes,
and I think that's kind of a pity with today's ARPGs, that it's so much about kind of the meta and progressing as fast as you can, beating the game as fast as you can, and then complain for the next 3 months that there's no new content. So I mean, that's kind of something that I'm not into that at all. I just want to kind of take my time, enjoy the game, kind of like how it was back when at least I played Diablo 2. Because at least for me, I didn't kind of have that same thing. You could be a casual gamer in Diablo 2, as far as at least from my perspective, right? You could take your time, you could play how you wanted. You didn't have all of this noise from the outside like you do have today, right? With all of the I'm shooting myself in the foot here, but all of the streamers and YouTubers, I mean, so that kind of maxes everything out by, as you also described, by the first few days, and then you're kind of, as a casual gamer, oh, I've nearly finished the campaign, right? So and then you kind of feel, whoa, I can't compete on this level, right? And then you just feel demotivated, and then you quit, right? So I think that's I don't think that's how it's supposed to be, is my only concern. I think I really want to embrace that even casual gamers should kind of feel the fun and enjoyment of playing ARPGs. And I think that's kind of being washed out a little bit. It's just my concern.
I agree with you. I want to touch on something you said with the casual gaming, and honestly, in a few questions, I want to come back to casual gaming and meta and all of that. But what I was going to say about casual gaming is, well, let me back that up to what you said about streamers and YouTube channels. We have, unfortunately, and this is a worldwide societal problem, we have become so what's the word I'm looking for? So wrapped up in being the first to get things done, having the pathway laid easy for us, et cetera, and in today's YouTube and information-based society, we are very, how do I put it? We are energy drinking rapid click, rapid scrolling to find the one thing that clicks with us. We try it and try to blaze through it and be in the meta and say that we're in the tops because that's what we want. And I don't feel that video gaming was ever supposed to be that. I feel like you said, we're supposed to take our time with it. We're supposed to take some small bites out of it and chew on that stuff for a little bit before we move on to the next quote unquote bite that we're going to take out of that game. And I feel that between certain video games, certain YouTubers, certain streamers, and certain TikTok, Instagram type stuff, that we are just, how do I say it? We're just, we don't, we have such a little attention span that we got to go. And like you said, like, oh, it's been a few months since the season's come out. Well, we'll take Path of Exile, for example. It's been 3 months. Where's my new season? What do you mean I got to wait an extra month? I'm done with this season. I need the next one right now. I finished this 2 months ago. I need the next one now. Give it to me now. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is it's just turned into now. We can't wait for anything. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of symptomatic to the kind of how the society, at least in the Western world, is that everything is like overabundance, right? I mean, just with a click of a button, you can get whatever you want today, as long as you have some kind of cash flow. You can basically kind of get whatever you want at whatever time, right?
Definitely.
So I mean, that's just how the society is kind of evolved to, which is kind of fine. I'm not there to debate society, but I think it should at least be room for different types of players, right? Because if you want to blast the meta and it be done by 3 days, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Go enjoy yourself. Have fun. I mean, that's fine. But you should also kind of make room for the casual gamers. It's just my entire point. And for me personally, I'm kind of leaning more towards that side of it because I've always kind of been captured by the atmosphere, the enjoyment of exploring things yourself instead of kind of just being handed, this is the best setup for everything, do this and you'll beat the game in 3 days. I mean, that doesn't give me that much, at least. I mean, just the feeling of exploring, feeling the atmosphere, what happens next. You don't know the answer. You don't know the blueprint yet. That's at least how I like to enjoy the games. So, but I mean, each to their own, right? And all different types of players should be welcomed into the game. But I'm just concerned that maybe it's more kind of going towards either the meta or nothing. And then casual players obviously will be left behind and maybe feel a little demotivated.
I agree. And one other thing before we move on to the next question that, in my opinion, really sets up everything for the rest of the interview, I want to say one more thing. You said all gamers are welcome. All gamers are welcome except for hackers. You guys get the hell out of here. I don't like you guys. Just leave. Just leave.
You have to
leave
play
us
by the
gamers
rules.
alone. Yeah, just leave us gamers alone. You hackers, get your own little thing. I don't want to deal with you guys no more. All right. Sure. Anyways, where were we? Okay. Back to the ARPG situation, since once again, this is all about Last Epoch. Is there a specific time or game that made you realize you could get super creative with builds and do things that maybe other people hadn't thought of, or however you view it?
Yeah, I think that first feeling came when playing Path of Exile 1.
Okay.
And I always had an interest of exploring the huge passive tree, which I at least think was huge at that time.
It was huge.
PoE has always been known for the huge passive tree, so just exploring that and all of the different kind of synergies and possibilities and making our own builds and testing it out. And I've always been drawn to that. And as I said, I did the same thing with Diablo II as well, just testing all of different combos and what works not, and what's fun to play, etc. So, but I think it was kind of in PoE 1 where I really kind of figured out, okay, so I had this concept of builds. I explored a bunch of different stuff. I could play like hours a build and then figuring out it didn't work at all, and then learn by that obviously, and then go back to the drawing board and kind of reiterate and get better and improve, and that feeling when you it kind of clicked and you've actually made your own build that at least wasn't known to me, and it actually worked well into the end game and far into the end game. So that's kind of the first time that I found myself enjoying that aspect of gaming.
So even the mighty Pixel has bricked some builds. You've bricked some builds? No way.
Yeah, for sure.
No way.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's a part of the learning process. I mean, if I look at my first builds I did, obviously they're not even close to my builds now, and that's I think that's the same with everything in life, right? I mean, if you start with a sport, you cannot kind of expect to be a master at the first practice, right? So I mean, mastery takes practice. I'm not saying I'm a master. I'm just saying that in order to be good at something, you obviously need to practice, and you also need to fail. And from failures, that's kind of where you learn the most. So yeah, for sure.
I don't remember the quote off the top of my head, but like who said it, but failure is the greatest teacher, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Not to be the corporate speak guy, but you know, that whole every challenge is an opportunity, you know, failure leads to success, all that stuff. It's like I said, it's a lot of it you hear and it's like, oh, it's corporate speak and it means nothing. It actually does mean something. You don't, like Pixel said, I'm sure if you guys have watched any of my live streams or videos I've put out in the past, you make so many mistakes when you're doing things, and you learn how to be successful from those mistakes. You learn what didn't work, and you learn what does work, and you you pull your big boy pants up and you get back to it.
For sure. And I mean, in order to get good, you have to kind of endure those hardships or whatever you call it, like the failures you have. Because if you quit when you have a failure, then you're quitting when you're actually learning stuff, right? So you should just get back on the horse and try again and reiterate.
Agree.
Become 1% better next time. And eventually, when you do that 100 times, you get 100% better. So yeah, that's how I view kind of everything in life. I mean, just try to get a little bit better each time.
Definitely. Write that down, folks. Write that down. That's important stuff. So you told me you've been pretty creative with your builds from Diablo II to Path of Exile, and Path of Exile was really your jumping off point. Is that where you got your creativity to jump into YouTube, and like how did all the YouTube stuff start?
Yeah, that was, I would say that was just so random, but I guess that's probably how it is with everyone when they figure out they want to start do something in particular. So obviously I played Last Epoch. I think I started like a couple of months before the 1.0 release, which I think was in February 2024.
Dude, I think
was the 1.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm
I
laughing.
assume you started at
the exact same time. You're like, oh, Path of Exile, 2013. I'm like, oh, holy crap. So did I.
Yeah.
Now you're like,
maybe we are each other in parallel universes or whatever.
Oh, now we went from fantasy to sci-fi now.
Yeah, we're jumping across different themes here. Yeah, but I mean, it was so random. I just really enjoyed the build I was doing, and I felt it had so many great synergies, and it was really cool to play, and I was really happy about it. And I was like, I gotta share this with someone, because you know when you make something really good and you just want to show it to someone else, but then you don't want to show it to your mom because she doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. So you want to show it to someone that actually understands what you're showing them. And that's how it started. And kind of my obvious choice that popped into my head was YouTube for the best way to share like a build guide. So
mean,
that's how it started. I just went for it.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna laugh this time, but unfortunately, your YouTube journey is so much different than mine. We've never talked about this at all. So my YouTube journey started off like this. I want to play a game. This game is called since there might be some crossover here, I'll tell your the crossover guys, some of your gentlemen and ladies that come see you. I started playing Star Citizen, and I was blown away by it. Don't leave the negative stuff out of the comments, boys. I'm not going to go down that route, but I wanted to share that with a friend who is also into space games, and he lived kind of far away from me, so it wasn't like I could just invite him over and be like, hey, play this game with me, try it out, and you know, sit at my keyboard and try out the game. And he's like, hey, can you stream it? And I was like, and at the time I was still kind of Discord dyslexic and all of that, and I didn't know you could share stuff on Discord, so I was like, stream it? You mean like where? And he's like, I don't know, on YouTube or something. And I was still a YouTube noob, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. I'll figure it out. And I did. I figured it out, and then I pushed stream, and I sent the link to my friend and was like, hey, I'm playing on YouTube. Watch it. And something weird happened. It went from him watching to now there's 3 people watching. Now there's 5 people watching. Now there's 6. And then, you know, I didn't have alert. I didn't know what I was doing. So I had no overlays, no alerts, no anything. And I sign off for the night, and it's like, oh, you got 10 subscribers. I was like, oh, that's weird. And my friend was like, oh, that was awesome. Try it again. Do it next weekend. So I did it next weekend and did the same thing. I didn't know you could set it to private. I didn't know you could, you know, only share it to one person. I had no idea what I was doing. So I hit live stream again, and it just kept snowballing. And after he was like, okay, I'll check out the game. After that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to stop. And my wife was like, what do you mean you're just going to stop? You have like 50 people that subscribe to you over 2 weeks. Like, just keep going. And I'm like, yeah, but this takes a lot of time, and, you know, the kids and you. And she's like, are you out drinking? Are you out spending money? I said, no. And she's like, then keep doing it. You're having fun. Just keep doing it. At least I know where you're at. And if I need help with something, I can just go upstairs and ask you. And I was like, oh, well, all right. And so I just kept doing it. It was super weird. It's super weird having people watch you play a video game. It's really weird, but it's super fun too.
It is, for sure. I mean, I think I never get used to kind of other people being interested in videos that I've made. I mean, it's a very particular feeling, to put it that way, and it's a very good feeling as well, as you say. I mean, that you can share stuff and other people are actually interested in watching it and hopefully getting some value out of it, or some emotions, or whatever, right? So yeah.
We're going to get into the Last Epoch stuff right now, but I want to say this again, and I really want to reiterate this, because this is exactly how I feel. You put out builds or little stories or little lore things, and I have no interest, zero interest in that type of build or whatever thing that you're doing. And I click on the video, and before I know it, I've watched the entire thing. I was engaged the entire time. I loved the story that was in there, or the little funny quips and quotes that you put in there. And before I know it, I go, still not going to try the build, but damn, that was really good. That was really good.
Thank you.
Like I said, I don't remember which build in particular. Oh, it was, for example, I'll bring this one up. I have no interest at all and ever making a sentinel with pets, with like the forged weapons, and all. I have zero interest in that. I'll probably never ever play it, but I watched that video from beginning to end, not because I was hate watching or anything. I was like, oh, let's see what Pixel does with this. I have no interest in it, but I want to see what he's going to do. And I watched every single second of that video, and I got to the end and I went, damn, that was really good. I don't want to play it, but damn, that was really good.
Wow. That's so awesome to hear. But yeah, I mean, that's something I enjoy doing myself, right? I mean, because I'm asking myself, okay, so what do I personally enjoy to watch? I mean, just not presenting kind of facts by facts by facts, but trying to, okay, how can I make this into something compelling? Maybe something, at least try to be kind of like epic storytelling, stuff like that, to kind of make it more interesting in terms of role playing. Just trying to wrap the build into something more than just listing a spreadsheet. And trying to get some emotions in it, kind of conveying kind of the emotion I had when I played it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of how I felt when I came up with the build and kind of what I pictured. And yeah, so it's kind of, it's more in like an artistic approach to it from my side, because I enjoy that kind of creativity for myself. And if the audience enjoy it as well, then I'm very happy. But yeah, I hope at least some other people than you also kind of like that portraying of the builds. But it's hard to tell, obviously. But yeah, it's very good to hear that you say that.
I could gush forever and ever and ever, but yeah, you do a very good job. And there's only a few YouTubers that there's a handful of YouTubers that I've done these interviews with, and then there's a few that I'm friends with behind the scenes and talk to on a regular basis. And there's only a couple of guys that I look at their videos and then I look at stuff that I'm doing and I go, wow, I really need to step it up. And it's kind of, I'm not saying you do, like, well, you do, but you and those other guys really push me to try to do better, learn different editing techniques, learn different ways to even use different words, et cetera, and it helps push me to do something better than what I was doing. So for me, I look at it and I try to not emulate you guys, but try to strive to do better for myself. So thank you for that.
And that's, I'm so humbled by you saying that. I mean, that my videos can even inspire to kind of drive that kind of thing into you. It's very nice to hear. So thank you for saying that.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Thank you for inspiring me.
You're welcome.
How long have you been doing YouTube now?
I've been doing it for 1.5 years, I think.
Okay.
It is, yeah. That's when my first video launched. Like, I think it was October, September, something like that, 2024. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Very nice. I think it's the same thing. I think we kind of started around the same time as well, too.
Wow.
So it's really weird. Like you said, parallel dimensions or something.
Yeah, maybe it is something like that. Who knows?
Maybe. Look, I love Last Epoch. I love Pixel Aptitude, the YouTube channel. Has it only ever been Last Epoch on your channel?
No, I've done some PoE2, Path of Exile 2 videos as well. So I played Path of Exile 2 ever since it was released, but then I think it was not this season, but the one prior to that was the last kind of season I felt some enjoyment in, and then it kind of faded a little bit at the end, because there are some aspects of that game that doesn't quite hit me that well. If you can put it that way, it doesn't kind of do it for me, to put it that way. And I can't quite point very exact fingers at it, but for me, one thing is I'm kind of bored during the campaign in Path of Exile 2. I just have to put that out there. For me, I'm kind of bored during the campaign. And I've always said to myself that I'll try not to play games that I'm bored of. I mean, I'm primarily doing YouTube to have fun, right? Yeah, you want to have fun doing it, playing games. That's kind of the core principle for me, at least.
Yeah, games. Well, look, I don't want to play a game because, well, let me put it that way. I don't want to come home from work and then play a game that makes me feel like I'm having to work. You know what I mean? I want to
Exactly.
I want to
Yeah.
be able to enjoy myself. I'm not asking to be able to just turn my brain off and not think, because to me that's not gaming. I still want to think. I just don't want to feel like I have to work, even though I just got off of
Yeah.
work and I want to enjoy my time. So, yeah,
I totally
feel
agree,
you.
and that exact description, as you say there, is what I would use as well. Because if you feel if the game is a chore, then something is off.
Yeah.
When you sit down by your computer after a hard day's work, you're a little bit tired, you just want to kick back, relax, then you should feel like, wow, now I can kind of go into this other kind of realm, enjoy myself, really kind of let everything else go, just escape into this awesome game. But if you feel like, oh no, I still have to go through the last chapters of the long campaign zones and travel hundreds of meters before you know where you're going with that kind of quest. And I mean, if you kind of look at it as this chore, then it's just wrong in my opinion.
No, agreed. 100% agree. I couldn't agree more. So well, you kind of already answered it. You've been playing Last Epoch for 2 years, right? Ish.
Yes.
Ish.
Ish. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so have I. I think you've delved into it a lot deeper than I have. And once again, I thank you for that, because you've done some stuff in that game where I look at that and I look at some of my other builds and I go, huh, why didn't I think about that?
Yeah.
So very cool. Very cool. How did you get introduced to Last Epoch?
Wow. That was so that's also kind of not a long story, but it has a backstory. So I mentioned earlier in the interview that, or our talk, that I had kind of a dry spell in terms of gaming.
Yes.
And I think it kind of lasted for I don't know how long, at least 5 to 10 years or something like that, before I kind of picked up a game again. And I don't regret it, obviously, because that was a very important part of my life where I kind of built a lot of stuff. But when I got back to gaming, I didn't even get back to ARPGs at first. More kind of casual gaming at first, kind of just kicking back at the evenings when I was tired. I played a bunch of different games, like, whatever kind of looked good. Then I was like, man, what am I doing, right? I mean, I have to get back to what I really enjoy. Just get that feeling back of the gaming stuff I had in my teens and all of that. So I started looking at, okay, so I want to get back into ARPGs. What kind of ARPGs are the best ones to start with now? I was kind of looking, should I get back to Path of Exile? And then I just came across Last Epoch, and just by coincidence, basically, when I kind of looked up and kind of made research into ARPGs again. So, and it just immediately as I saw it, I was like, wow, it just hit me. I just have to try this game. It was just a very easy decision to make. So, yeah, that's basically how I got into it. It was just by coincidence. I just wanted to get back into ARPGs again, and Last Epoch was the choice I made. And ever since that, I've stuck to it. Yeah.
Kind of throwing a off the list question at you. What was it about Last Epoch that pulled you in? Was it the graphics, the story, the passive skill tree, the skills tree, the skills skill tree? I don't know how to say that, but the skill tree within the skills. Which what was it that really, sunk its teeth in you and said, get over here, you need to play this?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's sometimes it's just hard to explain it with words, right? Because I think it's also the same for us, and it's maybe especially you in terms of Diablo 2 as well. Although you could kind of pinpoint these specific things that you enjoy about it. So you can mention like the crafting, the itemization, all of that stuff. But still, I think there's something deeper than that often in terms of why you like a game or not. And it often comes down to just kind of the whole package of how it makes you feel. Because we're still driven by emotions, right? We need to kind of, if we have a good feeling about the game, and it also goes back to what we just talked about in terms of a game being a chore or something that you can't wait to kind of open on your PC and play, right? So for me, Last Epoch is the latter. Ever since I started out, I've just really enjoyed just like Diablo, the atmosphere, the music. I really enjoy playing with the music in the background of Last Epoch because I really enjoy the music and it just sets the tone of the entire game. But apart from that, I just really enjoy especially the crafting system, and that you can just play all by yourself and being sucked into that world and farm your own gear. You can be all by yourself. You don't have to trade with anyone. You can farm your own gear. You can craft your own gear exactly how you want it to be. You can build your character just by yourself, just going through the world, just playing in your tempo. There's just something about it that just appeals to me a lot. And it's just the entire core and atmosphere and the way you can build your character. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what you enjoy about it.
I mean, there is a lot of good things to enjoy about Last Epoch, and you kind of hit every single one. The crafting, the itemization, you can trade, but you don't have to. You can target farm, you can juice your maps. It's got a simple yet semi-complex endgame. Campaign's long, but it's not too long. It's got a decent story. Music is great. The sound is pretty, I'd say the sound effects are pretty good. There's a lot to like about the game. I agree. For sure. I 100% agree. I'm going to ask you this question, but if you just want to say see above question and I mean, or see above answer, that's fine. Yeah. Why did you choose Last Epoch over, I mean, you may not have played this, but or any of them, but why Last Epoch over Diablo 4, Path of Exile 2, or even going back in Path of Exile 1? Why Last Epoch? Why showcase Last Epoch so hard on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think for me, it's like if I truly enjoy something, then I don't see a point in not doing it. And how it is for me with Last Epoch, there's so much stuff I want to do in Last Epoch that I haven't gotten around to because, I mean, there's time, right?
Yeah, it
it's
gets
not
us all.
too much of it. Yeah. And as long as I enjoy the game and have so much I want to play in it, then I don't really see a very good point in jumping between games. And as I said, I have played Path of Exile 2 quite a lot. I think the last season dropped now was the first season I didn't play at all. Apart from that, I've played all seasons. But there's something when I play Path of Exile 2, I'm always like, wow, I'm looking forward to playing Last Epoch again. and that, but it's not something. I mean, Path of Exile 2 is a good game. Obviously, it has its flaws and everything. It's still where it is in terms of development and all of that. I have nothing kind of like major bad things to say about Path of Exile 2. I enjoy it. I just don't enjoy it as much as Last Epoch. So that's kind of my answer, and it goes back to kind of that feeling you have with the game, and you can't always pinpoint it, right? I mean, you can't always say, now I want to play Last Epoch again because of this. No, you just want to play Last Epoch again because you just get better feelings with it. You just enjoy playing it more, right?
Agreed.
And that's how I feel about it. And I've always said to myself, like, I'm not bound to a game at all. It's just that. So mainly I'm an ARPG enjoyer or whatever you want to call it, right? And for me, currently, Last Epoch is the best ARPG. And that's why I play Last Epoch. So that's kind of the answer.
I think you have good taste in ARPGs. Once again, people in the comment section, you can roast me all you want. You really can. I don't enjoy Path of Exile 2. I played Path of Exile 1 for 3-ish years, multiple seasons. I had a lot of fun with it. I've even gone back and played it recently and played through a couple, 3, 4 characters and had a blast. There is something about Path of Exile 2 that it just does not hook me the way Last Epoch does. It does not hook me the way Path of Exile 1 did, or even Diablo 2 and some of the other ARPGs that have been mentioned here. It does not pull me in at all, and I don't know what it is. And honestly, people will say, well, Grim Dawn's another fantastic one. We didn't even talk about that, but it's not because it's slow. It's not because of the graphics. It's not because of the sound or the music or anything like that. It just does not hook me the same way those other games do. And as you said, it's a personal preference. I don't hate the game. I don't dislike it because of any one particular reason. It just does not grab me the way those other games do. And I'll just leave it at that. I wish it was better. Maybe I'm expecting more of a loot explosion when I kill certain things, but maybe that's what the turnoff. I don't know exactly. I've played it. I went through the campaign, and everybody's like, well, the game doesn't really start until after the campaign, and you get into the end. It was enough for me. I said, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, right. And that's also kind of a big difference between Path of Exile 2 and, let's say, Last Epoch, for instance. The campaign is really a lot longer in Path of Exile 2 compared to Last Epoch. And I'm not saying doing campaigns is a bad thing, but I think most ARPG players tend to kind of tolerate the campaign instead of loving the campaign often. I mean, I think the aim for most people is kind of, okay, the campaign is fine for kind of leveling the first couple of 10s, 20, 30 levels, but then you kind of want some more action and get into the end game, right? But I think like it's fairly common for casual players to spend like, I think 2 weeks on the campaign in Path of Exile 2. I mean, if you play a couple of hours at most every day, I think it takes you like 2 weeks to get through it. So, and I mean, that's long in the ARPG timeline to spend 2 weeks on a campaign, right? So, and I'm not saying that everyone has that feeling, but at least for me, that's also kind of one pet peeve that I have for Path of Exile 2 is that the campaign is a bit tedious for me. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, like I said, there's probably multiple layers, and I'm not going to get into it because I honestly, this is about you and Last Epoch. I'm not going to get into it too much, but there's multiple things in that game that just either I don't like or just doesn't hook me the way other ARPGs do, and that's fine. If you enjoy Path of Exile, enjoy Path of Exile. I will go on once again, commenters, you can hate me all you want. I don't like Diablo 4 at all. I would even go out on the limb to say that it is far too watered down of an ARPG for me. Once again, you guys can hate me in the comments. I said it, not Pixel. So you can come after me. I just don't like it. It bothers me to a level that I've never had with an ARPG before. But I will say this, if you enjoy it, go enjoy it. Your time is your time. I'm not going to be the guy that tells you how to spend your time. I will just say, I don't like it. It's not for me. If you enjoy it and that's your thing, go play that. I'm not going to tell you to stop because I dislike the game. Your time, your money, your enjoyment. Have fun, man. Have fun. And I really genuinely mean that. Please have fun. It's all your free time and your money and everything. You enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it. I just don't. That's it. That's it.
Yep. And I think, I mean, at least for me, I think Path of Exile is, Path of Exile 2 is a good game. I've played it quite a lot of time, but yeah, just the previous season, I didn't even feel like playing because I kind of, yeah, I didn't see a reason to when I enjoy Last Epoch so much and have so much stuff I want to do in that game. Then I don't want to jump into a game that kind of feels more like a chore than something I really look forward to doing. And just for the record, I haven't even played Diablo 4, so I'm not gonna say anything about that. But
your roast comments come to me, not Pixel.
Yeah, you can even roast me for not having played it at all, so that's fine. But it comes back to the thing that yeah, if you have fun with the game, why jump to other games?
I agree. Besides, Last Epoch, greater than them all. The new ones, anyways.
I agree.
So far, what has been your favorite season of Last Epoch? Or do you even have a favorite season?
Yeah. I think it's kind of hard. I think when the Harbingers and Aberoth were introduced in the 1.1 cycle, as it was called back then, before they named it to seasons, then I think that was a very good, let's call it season, with some very interesting content with the Harbingers and Aberoth and all of that. But I think maybe season 2 has the edge for me. I think that was a really good season where they introduced a lot of different stuff because they had like 9 months of development time from the 1.1 cycle to season 2. So they introduced a lot of different stuff there with the cemeteries, the tombs, the idle enchantment, the woven echo system, all of that stuff. Yeah, that I think that was a really good patch. They really kind of hit bullseye with that one, I think.
I agree. Same thing. When they added the Harbingers, and then like you said, when the seasons came out, and they did what did they call that season? Tombs of the Ancient Tombs.
Tombs of the Erased.
Tombs of the Erased. Thank you.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, I don't know if it's going to be for me. And then I played it and I was like, oh, this Weaver tree is weird. I don't like how the cemeteries work. And then I started playing it and I was like, oh, wait, this is hands down like one of the best things that's happened to Last Epoch. The whole the echoes and the like once I understood it and understood what I could do with it, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I need more of this. Give me more tombs.
Exactly. Right, and as you mentioned, also kind of the woven faction, the entire new faction that they introduced as well, had a huge impact in the game because you have this weaver tree, right, where you can put kind of points into. It's somewhat kind of like the skill trees and the passive trees, where you can put points into actually increasing drops for different stuff, increasing target farm strategies, all of that different stuff is huge, and also kind of altered the game quite fundamentally, I think.
I agree. I think for me, the target farming thing was like super eye-opening to me once I understood how the Weaver tree worked. Because at first I was just throwing points in there and going, oh, that sounds cool. Oh, that sounds cool. And then I really read it. Ladies and gentlemen, the way I look at ARPGs, and maybe you have, maybe you haven't, Pixel, I look at it like magic cards. Magic the Gathering. I read that text, and I do the same thing in ARPGs. I read the text and I go, okay, it's saying this. How do I add on to that? How do I find other things, or in the case of the Weaver tree, how do I find more things to do that? Or one of my favorite words that you say, Pixel, is multiplicative. I love the way you say it.
Yeah.
How do I make that now I can't say it. Multiplicative. How do I make it better? I want it better. How do I do that? And once I sat down and really looked at the Weaver tree, I was like, oh my God, They just gave us a cheat code and nobody realizes it. But I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is. You can kind of alter how you play the game, right? I mean, you can kind of modify drop rates for different stuff and how you want. Okay, so now you want runes, right? Okay, then you respec your weaver tree into this kind of strategy, right? Where you kind of target farm runes with the tombs and the cemeteries and rune drop rates and all of that stuff. So you have so much more freedom in getting what you want, basically. Which is great and makes it much more interesting in endgame.
Love it. How many hours do you have in Last Epoch?
Yeah, I think you will be surprised by this number. Actually, I checked it. You see, and
5,000 hours.
Actually, no, it's not even close.
Really?
It's not even close. Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually kind of baffled by it by myself because
I'm ready to be shocked.
I feel like I spend every waking hour in Last Epoch mode, but then it wasn't that high.
Really?
It's registered with 2,150 hours.
I mean, that's a pretty fair amount. I'm just under 1,000 hours. I mean, that's
yeah, it's a fair amount, but in terms of how much time I spend thinking about Last Epoch and how big a part of my life it is, I would assume it should at least be doubled. But then it got me thinking, like, yeah, now that you say it, I don't really spend that much time in the game apart from when I actually make builds and stuff like that, right? So because there's a lot of time spent going into actually producing the videos as well, and kind of thinking of, okay, so how should I present this build? You have to do all of the stuff surrounding the video, like coming up with the correct title, the thumbnail, all of that stuff also goes into the production of all of these build guides and stuff as well, right? So even though you spend a lot of time theory crafting, thinking about Last Epoch, doing videos, obviously you don't have the game open when you do that stuff, right? So I think if you kind of the whole time I spend thinking about Last Epoch, theory crafting, looking up items, finding combos, synergies, all of that stuff, obviously you could at least double that amount of hours. And if you also add into all of the video production hours, then you can probably multiply it by even more. So, but that's at least my in-game time. So yeah.
Kind of a joke question. How many hours do you think you have in the last blah blah blah? How many hours do you think you have in the Last Epoch build planner?
Yeah, that's a lot for sure. I think, as I said, I mean, if you take that stuff into account as well, then you can at least add some more thousands of hours into there. So yeah, it's a lot. I mean, most of my time spent thinking, apart from my family and my other job, then yeah, it's Last Epoch going around in my head.
I feel you there, man. There's a lot of times once again, I'll watch a video of yours and you present, not only do you present the build in a very entertaining and engaging way, where once again, in a world where you're constantly scrolling up to see the next 60 seconds of a video, I stop, I watch the whole thing, and then it makes me look at, even if it's a build I'm not interested in, it makes me look at that and go, how did he figure this out? And then I'll sit there and look at the build planner, because you link the build planner. I'll sit there and I'll look at it and be like, huh, he has this item and this item. I never thought to put those two together. Or it might be an item that I've picked up a bunch of times, and because it's a class or a type of weapon that I just never would have used, or item I would have never have used, I'll toss it back on the ground. And you, because of what you did in those videos, and I'm looking at your build planner, I'm looking at that item going, wow, I was thinking it's trash, but for this build, it's you know, a best in slot item, or you know, whatever the case may be, and it's very interesting to kind of get a inside look at how you think about a build. It's very cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite class?
Well, I have done a lot of Acolyte builds. I think that's kind of the majority of my builds. So I cannot really say anything else than Acolyte there, I think. If not, then it would kind of be inconsistent with what I've been doing. So yeah, I think Acolyte kind of has that edge for me. There's just something I'm drawn to with that class. I don't know if it's the actual gameplay and the skills and stuff, or it's if it's a combo between kind of the theme of the whole class, of the kind of dark magic, blood magic kind of vibe, which I find very cool. But yeah, I think as a whole, that's probably my favorite class, I would say. Yeah.
I kind of have like a top 3, and it's Acolyte, Rogue, Sentinel. And that's how I found you, was because I wanted to do something different with the Acolyte than I had been doing it up until that point. And I don't remember which Acolyte video it was in particular that like I was like, oh my God, this Pixel guy is amazing. I need to subscribe and hit the bell and watch everything he does. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was right at the, I guess you would call it, tail end of season 2. So I would have to go back and look, but it was right around the tail end of that, right before season 3 kicked off. And I was like, I need something new for the upcoming season. And everybody and their brother was doing the same video. Acolyte with Carrion of Creation, the Plague Staff, and Titan's Heart. And I'm like, I don't want to play that, and I don't want to have to wait until level 78 for my 78 to 81. I can't remember the exact item level on those gloves, and find them in order to make my build work. I don't want to be playing at a half power build for so long before I can really dive into that build. I need something else. And well, you came through, you gave me an Acolyte build, and I just absolutely smashed through most everything. And especially after I got all the gear the way I needed it. Holy cow. And I can't even remember which one it was.
Yeah, I remember which one it was, because I remember I have this kind of, I remember very many of my commenters and what video they comment on. I mean, I guess it's somewhat of an autistic kind of side of me, but I'm pretty sure it was the Witchfire build.
It's called a superpower.
Call it whatever you want, but it's a weird superpower at least to remember that kind of stuff. But I think it was the Witchfire build that I did.
Yes.
I think I was that one. Yeah.
Level
because
9.
I remember the first comment that you added on that video. I remember
level 99, baby.
That video.
Level 99. Yeah. Burnt the hell out of everything.
So, yeah, and the Witchfire stuff is that's
it's
really
nasty
cool mechanic. Yeah, it is.
Level 99 corruption. It's either 600, upper 600s or lower 700s is around where.
Yeah, I think it was something in that region for the build guide video.
Yeah, that's about where it capped off, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I don't have to hit 1,000 on every build or over 1,000.
Yeah, I think it can easily push way above that if you kind of min max it with the like aspirational gear. But I stopped there at least. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same for me. I was like, you know what, I'm good. I think from there I tried a what was it? Shadow Cascade Synchronized Strike Rogue build, and that is also amazing. You're a little bit on the squishy side, so you got to be careful what you're doing, but holy cow, is it super fun.
Yeah. I've done not that many Blade Dancer builds, but I did one now in season 3, which was quite cool to play. So, but I'm definitely gonna. I mean, I focused a lot on the Acolyte class, but I'm gonna do more different kind of builds going forward as well,
Well,
for sure.
I mean, that segues perfectly into the next question. What class would you like to play more?
Yeah, right. For me personally, I think it kind of, because if I follow the hunch when you ask that question and don't think too much, I would probably say Primalist. I know it wasn't on your
Ooh.
list, but it's
I mean,
definitely on my list.
dude,
Um,
I have a Last Epoch confession.
yeah.
I have played every class but Primalist. I've never
Wow.
even clicked OK when creating a character. Not once. Not once. I've done all the other ones, but not a Primalist yet.
What is off-putting by the Primalist for you?
It's not that it's off-putting. Like it I don't hate the class. I don't dislike it. I just have never tried it because, first and foremost, I'm very much, same like you, I'm very much drawn to the Acolyte. Why? Probably because I'm a Diablo II old head and love the necromancer. That's probably what it is. And to be 100% fair, and once again in Diablo 2 I had, you know, a tornado druid, a werewolf druid. I don't mind playing those types of that type of class at all. I had a pet druid back then. I don't have an issue with that, but I start with an acolyte or I start with a rogue and I have fun with those, and then I'm like, okay, I got some cool gear for the mage, or I got some cool gear for the sentinel. What can I do? And I start either attempting to build my own build. My problem is that my problem is that I, with work and family, I, on top of that, intentionally put way too much on my plate. So for me to sit down and be like, this is the build I'm going to do, and sit in the build planner for that, I'm not making fun. Don't see it that way. And sit in the build planner for 15 hours and go, this is the class I'm going to build around these items and these things, and go from there. I don't have that time. So I rely on this guy named Pixel Aptitude. He makes these great videos. I'm not sure if you know him or not, but he does these great videos, and I see different builds that he does. And then because of that, YouTube goes, well, we'll suggest this to you. And I have found other guys, and I'll try a sentinel build, or because of you, I also found Trickster. I'm not sure if you know who he is in the YouTube community. But I found Trickster, and I found a lot of his rogue builds, and I've been playing through a lot of those, and found a few people that do sentinel builds, and was like, oh, these look really cool and interesting. And I just have not gotten to, and I've only played mage twice. So I played mage right before 1.0 release or whatever they called it, and then I played mage in season 2, and that's it. It's been every single time it's either acolyte and rogue to start off, and then followed up by one or the other depending on what I did, and then sentinel. And then by that time I've played 2 or 3 of each of those classes to the end of the season, to near the end of the season, and then I'm like, I'm good right now. I'm good. And then I forget about the Primalist class. So it's not that I hate that was just a long way of saying I just haven't played the Primalist class.
Yeah, but that's fair. I mean, it's the same for me, right? I mean, I focused a lot on Acolyte, and that obviously goes. I mean, you obviously ignore some of the other classes when you focus so much on another. So, but I think going forward, I'm still going to do Acolyte builds, obviously, but I have this kind of feeling of wanting to do builds for other classes as well. And I think kind of Primalist is the first that kind of pops up in my head at the moment. So we'll see.
To me, and this is just me, to me, the Acolyte is the best class. There's just so many fun things you can do with it versus some of the other classes. And I just love the Acolyte. I love the look. I love the look of the gear when you put it on her. I love a lot of the different pet builds. And once again, one of my favorite builds you ever have done is the I forget what you titled it, but it was the skeleton exploder, not the lich one, but just a regular necromancer skeleton exploder. Holy crap, is that a lot of fun for me? I love that one. Brought me back to Diablo 2.
That's a blast to play.
I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, definitely.
So much fun.
Yeah, and it's such a good feeling to play that build, I think. I mean, it's not the strongest of the bunch, like pushing way above 1,000 corruption and stuff like that, but it's so fulfilling to play. Like, seeing it has such a good AoE and kind of decent single target damage. You can play it at least up to, if not above 1,000 corruption. You can play it for as long as you want, basically, in terms of that. So, and yeah, it's very enjoyable. And also the defense is very good there as well, because you get so much ward on the skullies dying and stuff like that as well. So
that's what I was going to say. One of my favorite things about playing it is I don't die very often. Why? I got my giant tank in the front, aggroing everything. My skeletons are exploding, and I'm way in the back just making tons of ward, and I'm so far in the back that nothing is going to touch me unless it's got the monster's got that affix on it of directly attacks player, or however they word it. But but I mean, you can still evade those, right? I mean, you just gotta be alert. But I totally get what you're saying. And also the golem tanking everything else is it's comfortable. Yeah, that golem is like the best meat shield ever. And
for sure.
What I'm surprised is I've played a lot of pet classes, in other ARPGs. The one thing that surprised me the most when I saw you play that, and I was like, I gotta play this. And you had said in your video that your golem's going to be tanking a lot for you, and he's going to be that first layer of defense. And I watched you play, and it's very hard to see. Let me put it this way: you don't really experience it until you play it. But I was like, how is this golem going to keep me alive, other than just being a meat shield? And it was after I started playing it that I realized when something gets through and starts smacking me around, he comes running over and starts beating on it. And I was really surprised that the AI was that intelligent for an ARPG, because like I said, there's a couple of times, one of those, oh God bless it, I'm losing everything. What are the snake people called in Last Epoch? I forget what they're called.
Nagasa?
Yeah, the Nagasa. The
Nagasa, yeah.
Some of them will sneak through and give me a boop on the nose with their tails, and he'll just turn around and start beating on him. I'm like, he's a
bodyguard.
I'm really surprised how fast he reacted to that. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are times he chokes up and doesn't get over there, but you just sidestep and lead him over to your golem, and your golem will take care of him.
Yeah, and I think you can go without that golem as well for more damage and stuff, but it's very safe and very comfortable to add the golem into the mix, so you can just casually run around and not to be too afraid.
All right. We're getting towards the end here. I have a couple of, I guess you would call them loaded questions. Is there a class that you feel needs a little love, a little buff, a little polish, a little something that you think it's missing? I mean, you don't have to be super detailed, just a little, your opinion, your feelings, something that needs a little of the Danielson wax on, wax off treatment.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the first thing that pops up in my head is maybe shaman, but obviously that's not a class but a mastery. But
right.
And one particular reason for that is that it's missing a skill, so it's still missing one of its mastery skills. So if you look at the kind of skill overview for Primalist, you can see that there's one missing for shaman that hasn't been added to the game yet. Yeah,
that's how little I've played the Primalist. I didn't even know that, so thank you for informing me. I had no clue.
So there are still, for sure, right? So there's still some classes and masteries missing skills. And Shaman is one of them. I think Paladin is also another, which will have a skill for Season 5, which is the plan. So yeah, I think maybe let's say Shaman, because there's not something planned there in the roadmap, at least for a new Shaman skill. So it's still some way off, I think, in terms of the roadmap. So let's see.
Maybe expansion.
But I think I'm leaning towards Shaman. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? That will be a huge one. So you never know what they put into there. So yeah.
Okay. Once again, another loaded question for you. Do you think, don't say Acolyte, do you think there's a class you want to see nerfed? Don't say Acolyte.
Nah. You know what? I think my answer there is no. I mean, well, and the answer is kind of multifaceted, because first of all, I'm not really that into the meta, right? You know that. So I don't really care that much about the meta. I don't really follow what the meta is at the current state in time that much. Because first of all, I don't want to be colored by it, because that kind of kills my enjoyment for the game. So I'm not kind of into following, okay, so what's the meta for the different classes and stuff like that. So I don't really have kind of this kind of empirical stuff for stating what class should be nerfed, because I don't really care that much and research into it. So I think people should just play whatever they want. If they want to push 20,000 corruption, then be my guest.
Right.
I mean, as long as it doesn't kind of kill the game for others, which I don't think it does to a very high degree, then I don't really care if they nerf anything, or they can do whatever they want.
I kind of agree with you. I think it's, guys, come on, don't crucify me about the Primalist stuff, but of the other classes I've played, they seem pretty well balanced. And yeah, there's some things that you can do for the mage that makes it do like, 2.4 million per, cast of whatever skill I saw it. I think it was Frozen Sentinel was doing it. And there's some things you can do for the Sentinel that makes him do, I think it's the Judgment Paladin that does crazy damage. And I've seen a little bit of everything from every build, and I think it's pretty well balanced across the board. Now, once again, I am not as technically versed in the game. I don't know which passive nodes are bugged or have glitches or different things that you can do to manipulate builds to do even more. But I just from I'm going to use a dirty word, as a casual to the game, it seems balanced enough. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it seems pretty balanced to me.
Yeah, that's my impression as well. And I think also I don't want to be kind of someone that wants to nerf stuff. I think that's the developers kind of area of expertise and kind of having that control. But so no, I don't want to say anything there really. I know obviously some builds that are way too powerful for their own good, if to put it that way. But yeah, I don't want to say that anything should be nerfed.
When it comes, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, at least from my audience, that play a lot of first person shooters and arena games and like hero shooters and stuff like that, where look, in an ARPG you have the luxury to kind of play by yourself. You're not really PvPing against people and stuff like that. So for me, when I look at a game like Last Epoch, Path of Exile, things like that, I don't immediately go, class needs to be nerfed. You went through the campaign and got to the end game and did the end game stuff too fast. It needs to be nerfed. I don't really look at it that way. And it doesn't really bother me if people do that sort of thing. What I don't like is like in PvP games, like I said, in the variety that I just mentioned, where there's a specific gun or a specific equipment or skill where you can look at that and clearly go, hey, that needs to be toned down just a little bit. So, but I feel that with ARPGs, if it's done well, like Last Epoch has been, and some of the other ones that we talked about, you don't really have to worry about class nerfs or skill nerfs or anything like that. It's kind of, what did you say? It's like user oriented, you know? Do you want to blast through everything, or do you want to take your time with it? That's up to you.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of balancing like different stuff and nerfing and buffing or whatever, I mean, that's something for the developers to decide. And I don't want to kind of be someone that says, yeah, this should be nerfed and sound like a bitter old man. And yeah, just have fun, play the builds. And if they get nerfed for a season, okay, then if you want to play the meta, then go find something else.
Yeah. Speaking of meta, you do a lot of off meta builds on your YouTube channel. Like, what draws you to that? Just not being part of the meta, or is there a different thing to that?
Yeah, I think it also goes back to kind of what we touched upon earlier, that from what I get enjoyment out of these games is to explore stuff myself. Basically, that's kind of the core thing for me. Never knowing what's around the next corner, not necessarily literally, but kind of conceptually. Like, how can I make this item synergize with some of the skills? How can I make a skill combo that most people haven't kind of tested out because it seems so weak that it doesn't make sense to test it out, but then sometimes it clicks and all of that. So it's just kind of the exploring and testing stuff out that really just appeals to me. And as I said earlier as well, that just following like a meta spreadsheet guide step by step, and do this, and then you can beat the game in a couple of days, like Uber Abroth, push 20 corruption. I mean, that's just not how I get enjoyment out of the games. And it's also why I kind of is drawn towards the off-meta stuff.
You know, I like off-meta builds because I don't like doing what everybody else does. So for those of you that can see this, I am wearing a White Sox hat. Everybody in my family, for the most part, is a Cubs fan. For anybody that might be watching in Europe or anything like that, it's a baseball team based out of Chicago. Everybody's a Chicago Cubs fan. I did not want to be part of all of that. Why? I like to be different. So I went White Sox, and that's just kind of who I am. So I also look at off meta builds and I go, nobody's doing this. Why can't we do this? Now, I don't have as much technical knowledge as far as how skills work, how passive skills interact with each other, and items interact with each other in Last Epoch, but I'm pretty deep into like Diablo II, and once again, I'll bring up Magic the Gathering. I like to look at things that people don't do. Why don't they do them? Okay, nobody does this. I'm going to do it. Does it actually suck? And sometimes you get a hidden, just absolute blaster of a character, or in Magic terms, you get this deck that just nobody sees coming and absolutely demolishes them. And you're like, huh, why didn't I ever think about that? And that's kind of how I like to view it. It is just like, I found something nobody else did, and now I want to share it because it's cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of the satisfaction of figuring stuff out yourself, I think, is one of the core fundamentals of what I like. Yeah.
Agreed. Oh, here we go. Since I started watching you, you've done a lot of Acolyte builds, and once again, I'm super grateful for that. I don't like all of them, but I enjoy, I'd say, probably 95% of them. And I think I've tried just about every one of your builds except for the T-Rex, and there's been one or two more that I haven't tried. But yeah, I've tried almost all of your Acolyte builds, they're super cool.
Wow.
are you going to be focusing on other classes? And you kind of answered this with Primalist, so I guess my first I guess we'll change this question. What do you think is going to be your first build for Primalist?
Wow.
Or do you have something in mind? Like, I'm not asking for specifics.
Yeah,
like, do you have something in mind?
I can. I have something in mind. I'm not. I don't think I'm ready to share it yet,
Okay.
because if it doesn't turn out the way I want, then I might not share it after saying I'll share it. So then I'll
Okay.
disappoint people. So
Okay.
I think I'll just keep it in my head for now, because I'm still kind of in the theory crafting, testing out part before I
Okay.
know if this is something we should go for. But um, yeah, I've already started thinking about other builds I want to play coming up. So and Acolyte will not be the first builds I'll play. I
Okay.
think coming up.
Okay. So are you gonna? I guess to kind of like change that question a little bit so I can get a little bit more of an answer out of you. Are you gonna kind of go like Acolyte and Primalist at the same time, like go bounce back and forth between different and newer builds, or are you just kind of focus on the Primalist for the first little bit?
The way it seems now, I think I'll probably focus a lot on, or not necessarily a lot, but at least to some degree on Primalist going forward. You will see a couple of builds there, I think.
Okay. So what, once again, ladies and gentlemen, what Pixel is saying is that I, Scarred, am going to have to start playing Primalist now, because once again, like I can't stop saying this, but I found your channel. I was so blown away by it. I saw all the different off meta builds that you were doing, and I was like, this guy gets me and knows pretty much what I'm looking for before I know what I'm looking for. And maybe it's just because I haven't seen anybody entertain me with a Primalist build, because I don't know. I just it's always the last. I always tell myself I'm gonna try a Primalist build this season, and then I don't. And well, maybe Pixel just needs to slap me with a video and say, Scarred, try this. It's gonna be awesome. Just try it. And I'll try it.
Yeah, hopefully I can do that. At least I'll try to put some out there, and we'll take it from there.
I have the utmost confidence that you're going to cook up something fun. It may not be on your first try, like we said. Failure breeds success, but I think you're going to cook up something fun, whether it's soon or later. I think you're going to do something really cool with the Primalist. That, and I'm gonna try no matter what.
Let's hope so.
Now, once again, people in the comment section, I want you to understand something. I love Last Epoch. Pixel loves Last Epoch. And the questions that I'm going to ask, I think I would be failing at my job as an interviewer to ask. And in no means is this to be negative or trying to stir up drama between one channel or another or anything else. This is educational in nature, in opinions. This is our opinions. These are not facts. So the next couple questions, once again, do not try to come in the comment section and be like, you guys are so mean. We're not doing this to be mean. Both of us love Last Epoch to death. And well, we just love it. We wouldn't put so much time into it if we didn't love it. So I have to ask this question. How do you feel about crafting, acquiring 11-hour games?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm feeling kind of neutral about it. Just simply because stuff hasn't really changed that much, like practically,
No.
at the current state in time. So, and we'll obviously know going forward how it will turn out. But for now, I'll just sit quietly and enjoy the game until it's not enjoyable anymore, and hopefully it will be enjoyable for the time coming up. So I have full respect for people that disagree with the choice and all of that, but at least according to EHG, it was either selling to Krafton or going bankrupt and the game being dead. So I'm glad they didn't kill the game. I'm glad they continued. And if Krafton was the only option there, then that's obviously the natural choice if you want the game to stay alive. And I mean, we also talk about people's jobs here as well, right? I mean, it's still a company that hires people with families and stuff like that. So I think the argument for saying that they should rather kill the game than selling to Krafton is not something I stand by at all. I'm glad they sold instead of killing the game.
Yeah.
And I think kind of the disappointment of people is going all the way back to what Last Epoch was originally, when it was kind of this Kickstarter where they raised funds for developing the game and stuff. And I think it was a statement in there saying that it will be a one-time payment for the game, and then it's done. And that's way back. I think it might have been like 2018 or something. I think so.
Yeah,
it goes way back.
Way back.
Yeah, and I think many people still use that as an argument for. You said it was going to be a one-time payment, and now suddenly we have what seems to be upcoming payments as well, what they've introduced, right? So I think people kind of hates that a little bit, which is understandable. I totally respect that, but I view it a little bit different, because what a Kickstarter said in 2018, obviously that develops over time, right? I mean, no one can foresee the future, and
right.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same as life, right? I mean, what you said like 5 years ago, you don't necessarily stand by that 100%. People change, stuff change, time develops stuff. So yeah, I think it's kind of a little bit unfair to kind of hold that as an argument for in my opinion, but I totally respect that people might kind of feel that they've been betrayed somehow, but at least I don't have that kind of feeling.
I won't see. I came in around almost the exact same time you did, right towards the end of the early access. I got early. I don't know what you would call it, and then right as 1.0 release, like I maybe 2 months, 3 months before that, and I once again, I'm going to bring up Star Citizen. So for those of you guys that are going to poo-poo in my comment section, please don't. I got involved with that Kickstarter game, and it has left such a negative, bad taste about joining a Kickstarter game and early access that I just don't do it anymore. I'll play an early access game, and that's fine. But if you're going to ask me to be putting in a lot of money to that game, it's not going to happen. I got burnt once. I'm not doing it again. But as far as, and this will kind of probably lead into some of the other questions, as far as 11-hour games being acquired by Krafton, we could say a lot of things. They didn't raise enough Kickstarter money. They didn't sell enough copies at release. There's a lot of negative things we could say. The MTX hasn't been updated in a year and a half, or whatever I see on comment sections. All of that stuff takes work. It takes money. People have to be paid. Overhead has to be paid. Servers, lights, all of that stuff. There's a lot of money coming in and going out. And we knew, even when I first got involved, I knew that this was a smaller gaming company. This is not like Rockstar or Blizzard, where they can just throw 2,000 people at a game and say, there you go, work on it until it's done, or improve it, or whatever they say. So as far as me being disappointed that Krafton bought them, at least it wasn't Ubisoft. At least it wasn't Ubisoft. Yeah. That's really all I can say. Crafton has had some negative things hung over their heads, and like I agree with Pixel. Let's see what happens. Let's see what they cook up. Let's see what happens. And like I said, I love Last Epoch. I want Last Epoch to be the second game I download on every fresh computer I get for the next 25 years, and I'll be fine. That's how much I enjoy Last Epoch. I really hope 25 years from now, when I'm in my 60s, I'll be playing Last Epoch still. So we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens, and obviously they have announced now that there will be these paid classes and stuff like that. So I mean, I can see why people are skeptical towards that, but I still think we just have to wait and see. And even now that they have announced it, I'm not 100% sure that they will actually go through with it as well. I mean, their roadmaps have even changed over the course of the years as well. So let's just see what happens and how it pans out. Maybe it's not the worst thing that can happen, even if it does happen. Maybe they do it in some way we cannot see right now that actually makes it okay. I don't know. Do I think it should have been handled another way? Possibly. Would it maybe have been better to say that it was a paid expansion and the classes were free, even though it was the same amount of money people would pay? I mean, it still kind of would have been marketed a little bit better, I think. But you can argue about stuff like that, but still, we don't know how it's gonna pan out. So for the moment, I'll sit quietly and just observe.
I had typed out long discussions in your Discord, which thanks you for having me in there. I have very strong opinions both in the positive side of it and the negative side. So I'll try to I'll just put it like you do. We'll see what they do. There's a lot of positive reasons to make a class paid or an expansion paid, and there's a lot of negative reasons to not do that. Number one being I don't have a lot of money. I'd prefer not to spend it on a class, but at the same time, they, like you said earlier, there's families, there's people that work there that they have families. They got to put food on their table as well. They got to keep the lights on. They got to keep the servers on. They have to make money too. And to sit there and say that a business doesn't need to make money is kind of ignorant, and they do need to make money. Do I think there's a better way to do it? I do. And I'll keep those opinions to myself, but they have to make money, and they have to get money from us, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one aspect, and I'm not kind of at the moment criticizing the choice they've gone for there. Let's wait and see how it pans out. But still, it shouldn't kind of be them resting on their laurels and saying just that, okay, we can just take money for classes now. I mean, they should still work on improving their MTX, make more people buy their MTX, because it's just so damn good that you cannot not buy it. Not having bugs in their MTX and stuff like that helps a lot. I mean, so they still have to kind of step up their plate and deliver on stuff like that as well, right? So I think it's kind of a two-side to the coin here that you have to take into consideration. We will do our best to kind of support the game, but they also have to work for it, right? So
I agree. So we're kind of getting towards the tail end here, and I wrote down in my notebook like a couple of other questions, and I'll save them all the way to the end. Well, near the end. But once again, I want to reiterate, Last Epoch is a great game, and it does have its flaws. And I'm not asking you to be negative. I feel that this is more of a constructive criticism thing. I think that right now, the biggest flaw that Last Epoch suffers from is there is not enough people playing. How do we fix that?
How do we fix that? I don't know. I mean, I think it to a huge degree, I think it comes down to marketing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, marketing is such a huge factor to reach your audience, have your audience hyped for stuff. And I think there's a way to go there. If you look at other ARPGs, I think Last Epoch still has a way to go in terms of marketing and reaching out to their audiences. I mean,
Agreed.
there are still kind of people finding teasers and announcements deep into somewhere on the forum or a Reddit post, and then someone finds out about it and makes a video about it, and then suddenly everyone else knows. But why do they kind of announce those kind of huge changes to the games inside some random Reddit post, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot really go about hyping for a game that way. I think you need to think more in terms of good marketing strategies and reaching kind of the wide ARPG audiences where they're at. So I think that's kind of a huge thing that they need to improve. And I think that will definitely kind of put the Last Epoch more on the map. And obviously, I think also for the ARPG player base, they do need to add content more consistently. They cannot kind of go 9 months, 6 months, 4 months, 6 months, 7 months, 3 months. I mean, it's too inconsistent for how the ARPG community wants it to be, and people might lose interest if it goes like 9 months between a season. So, I mean, if there are different models there as well, they can have a look at like having a season every 6 months if they cannot do it more than that. But then at least they should have like a season reset or something, like an event, like after 3 months, like a huge event or something like that, just kind of restarting the current season and adding something fresh into it if they plan on doing that way. So I think marketing and more frequent content is kind of
The biggest
two
things.
important pillars that need to be in place for it to kind of grow to the same levels as the other ARPGs.
Do you do you feel that another pillar to what you were just speaking about are streamers and content creators? Do you think they're also a key to getting more people hyped about the game, getting more eyes on it, getting more people in the game? Because look, now these figures are about 2 weeks old. In your Discord, somebody had been talking about, what's it called, Merchant Guild or Circle of Fortune, and somebody else had brought up they wanted to watch Last Epoch, and I really bit my tongue hard on that because I looked it up and it was a little over 800 people playing per hour, and on Twitch, nobody. And I checked for 3 days straight. Nobody. Not one person streaming Last Epoch. YouTube, it was like 3 people, I want to say it was at one point, and that didn't last all day. It was just 3 people for a few hours, and that was it. Do you think, like, I want to, I guess, do you think marketing could spend a share of that money on partnering with YouTube and Twitch content creators, whether they're live streamers or just video guys? Do you think there would be benefit in that to get more people involved?
Yeah, for sure it would be beneficial. I mean, content creators have influence over people and gamers. I mean, that's a fact, right? But I still think that the core pillars are still the two I mentioned previously there. That you cannot really get players to play a game if they really have no interest in it.
Right.
Regardless of if you really like the content creator and stuff, you might get some people to play it because you are playing it. But I think it comes down to the player base actually having an interest in playing it, and that's often how kind of you're presented content as well, right? I mean, all of these algorithms presenting content to you on these different platforms, they're following your behaviors and your interests. And if you are not interested in Last Epoch and not clicking on Last Epoch videos or whatnot, then they'll stop showing it to you, regardless of if some streamers are playing it or whatnot, right? So I think it has to. I mean, obviously it can help for sure, but I still think like the core fundament is marketing properly and more frequent content, and obviously the frequent content also has to be good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I kind of had a feeling that's what you were going to say. You can pay people to play your game. You can provide partnerships, you know, Twitch drops, whatever you want to do for that particular, for the, you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
But if there's nothing to play, there's no new content, there's no updates. It's been X amount of time since the last thing. It doesn't matter what you do. People are just not going to come back and play if they've already played through. And to me, I think I'm in one of those camps where, you know, I haven't played in a couple of weeks, but that's because I've also been working on some other projects, and I love that game. And it doesn't matter how deep into a season it goes, you know, and unfortunately the Last Epoch has long seasons. I will play 4 or 5 characters, and I'll get them to upper 90s, high corruption, and then I'll kind of put it down for a little while, and I'll either think of something on my own to play, or, you know, new pixel videos drop today and I get an alert for it, and I watch it and I go, huh, that looks really cool. I'm going to try that when I get home from work, or when the kids go to bed, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I think kind of partnering up with content creators and stuff is kind of the icing on the cake, but it doesn't make sense to have an icing on the cake if you don't have a cake. So that's kind of the metaphor for it. So yeah. I think that definitely helps, but it's still just the icing on the cake. I think you need that fundamental stuff in place first.
All right. So while we were talking, I wrote down 3 questions. So I want to get to those before I ask you the last 2, and, you know, you have a copy of my questions. So and those okay. I guess I'll just spit it out. So these 3 questions, we kind of touched a little bit on each one. Casual gamers. You said that you feel that there needs to be a place in most games, not every game, but most games, for casual gamers. Do you feel that ARPGs are more casual gamer friendly than other games?
No, I don't think so. I would say maybe the opposite from kind of how I view it.
Okay.
I still think that most ARPGs are kind of leaning towards if you don't play the meta, then don't play at all. To some extent, right? If you look at Path of Exile and stuff like that, it's basically a huge spreadsheet, and if you do one thing incorrectly, then yeah, sorry. So yeah, I don't think ARPGs in general have been very forgiving to casual players, at least not the newest ARPGs. That's at least my feeling about it.
I agree with you. When people say to me, hey, what's a good casual ARPG? There's 3 that come to mind, and this could change with one of them. And I'll say my piece. But when people are like, hey, what's a good casual ARPG? I think of Diablo II. I think of Grim Dawn. The kind of games like that. And the reason why I say that is, yeah, some of them are online, or some of them you can play single player, but in those games, there's no real rush to get to the end. And I kind of feel like that kind of gives a casual gamer a little bit of a bigger space to kind of play in and operate in and have fun with. And you're not being pressured with, you got 2 weeks before the season ends, you got a week before the season ends, kind of thing. And jumping to the next thing. And that's one thing I don't like about Path of Exile 1 and 2 is if you can't really be a casual gamer at the beginning of the season. It's what are the meta builds for a season starter, and then you can build the build that you really want to play. And I don't vibe with that. I mean, it's fun occasionally, but I don't really vibe with that. So
no, I have the same feeling, and yeah, it just goes back to kind of everything I've said. That for me, it kind of ruins the fun if you have to play this kind of way, then yeah, that just ruins everything for me. So that's why why I'm drawn to doing more off meta stuff and just exploring and testing different stuff. I think that's way more fun.
I agree. I agree. Well, that kind of answered that other question. PoE 2. I want to go back to some of the discussion we had on PoE 2. Kind of, I guess, your opinion. So I've played through the campaign one time. You've said you've played it probably a little bit more than I have. Does it feel like each zone, like each little map within a zone, to me, does it not feel like it just takes too long to go from one zone to like how do I explain it? Like at the beginning, you got to go into the forest, and then from the forest you go underground. From the underground you go back up to a ruinous city, right? And I call each one of those a zone, right? Even though you're playing in one big area. To me, it feels like it takes far too long to clear a zone, and there's almost always a unique or boss-like monster in there, and it takes far too long to kill them. Do you feel the game just takes too long in general? I'm not asking for a Red Bull saturated speed freak of a game. I'm just saying, like, it feels like it takes too long to get from zone to zone to zone.
Yeah, that's exactly my experience with it as well, especially in the start of the season, right, where you don't have any kind of leveling gear or whatever ready in your stash, right? So you have to find everything from scratch, and I mean, if you're unlucky there with the drops and stuff, I mean, you can spend like a minute killing a boss, right? Like you just said as well. So and kind of that's fine for like a pinnacle boss, but like the first boss in the game, that's a little too long, I think. So and also the zones, I mean, they're huge. So some of them are gigantic. I mean, I can't quite recall the zone name right now, but I think it's in Act 3. There's a really huge zone there, and you have to know where to go, like what direction to go in the map in order to kind of pass through it quite quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it should be like that, because then you're kind of you need this kind of implicit knowledge from before in order to play it properly or to kind of clear it properly. But what about new players, right? Going through it for the first time. If you go in the wrong direction, then good luck. You're going to spend like half an hour in there in one zone. So for me, that's kind of a little bit tedious. I don't like that way of designing zones, especially in the campaign. I mean, for huge maps and stuff like that, that's fine in the end game, but for having that large zone in the campaign, it doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, the campaign should just be like really in a flow state. You know where you're going, you're doing these quests, you're leveling up, you're getting XP, you're just going with the flow. You know, like ish what direction you're going in. If you're kind of fumbling around in this huge area and you have no clue what you're doing or where you're going, then it's just getting tedious for me, at least.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to add on to that is, like, I feel like I spent all this time, moving through the zone or clearing it out and fighting that unique monster or that mini boss or boss in that zone. And I feel like I get nothing out of it. Now, once again, I am not asking to go through, be in Act 1, midway through Act 1 and get blessed with God level items. But for me, like, why am I playing this game for 4.5 hours and I have not even changed my primary weapon one time because I can't find anything that's better? It feels like the landscape is barren with items. And once again, I don't need to have godlike items, but I would like in Path of Exile 1, Last Epoch, Diablo 2, Grim Dawn, I can bring up all these games and say I kill a boss or a unique monster, and it drops a good amount of stuff, and I may not use it directly on that class, but I can use it on the next class. Or after 2.5 hours, I'm hovering over in a pair of boots, a sword, a ring, and going, do I want a little extra res from this thing, or do I want a little extra life? I can get a little bit more electric damage, or, back and forth. This one does have higher fire damage, but I get faster swing speed with this. Which one do I want to be forced to choose, not just go, oh, well, it's shit, and move on to the next one, the next zone, and try. And I feel like it's just barren. Maybe that's just me.
No, I totally see what you're getting at, and at least in the start when it first released, then that was a huge issue. I mean, the drops were just insanely bad, and then they buffed it, and I think they've buffed it quite a few times as well. So I think it's better than it was in the beginning, at least. But yeah, I still kind of have that feeling to some extent in terms of what I would prefer. I mean, I would prefer like going through it, and you'll naturally kind of progress your character with new gear as you go along, like at least like every 10th level, right? You should have at least some new items compared to where you were like 10 levels ago, right?
Yeah.
Something like that at least. So I still think there's too much of a gap there, and obviously the game kind of not force you, but kind of encourage you to trade as well, right? So
yes,
it's more important to collect currency and trade with other people. I think you're getting way further if you do that compared to farming your own gear, unless you play SSF, of course, where you're forced to do that.
Oh, I do have, I forgot, I do have one more question, one more off the list question. And back to PoE, I neither of us are saying we hate the game and it's a terrible game and don't play it.
No, for sure.
It's a good game. Every game has its flaws. We were just constructively criticizing that part which we,
I mean, yeah,
kind of dislike.
Exactly. And I still enjoy Path of Exile 2. I think it potentially has a very good future ahead of it. I think if it fixes kind of these major flaws, then it will be a really good game, and I might even go back to it. But the way the current state is now, I think I'll stick with the PoE, at least how it seems like for the time being.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll no thank you to PoE 2 right now. I mean, it could. I am of the mindset. Let's let them cook. It's not even released yet. Just let them cook. They're going to make changes. They're going to buff. They're going to nerf. They're going to balance. They're going to do all kinds of stuff. And I am still extremely interested in playing it. But right now, I'm just, you can sit on the back burner while they cook, and Last Epoch's right here, and I'll enjoy that. And yeah.
For sure. And I'm not sure if I said I'll stick to PoE, but if I did say that, I obviously meant stick to Last Epoch. I'm not sure. I just want to make that clear. I'll stick to Last Epoch for now. Yeah.
The Last Epoch is great, right? I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Last Epoch is, I agree, absolutely amazing. And I had that question. It just kind of like popped into my head, and now it went and disappeared. So I guess we got the last two questions, and then parting will be such sweet sorrow. But so these last two questions, if I remember it, I'll ask you. But how excited are you for Season 5 and the Orbis expansion?
I'm massively excited. So obviously the first one coming up is Season 5, and I think the core seasonal mechanic for that will be the Rage of Morditas.
Okay.
camera is working
Yeah,
properly.
it's going a little fuzzy. I'll get it to work.
You're a little bit blurry, yeah.
Yeah, NVIDIA broadcast will do some weird things occasionally. There we go.
Yeah,
It'll
it was
fix
there for a
itself.
moment.
It'll fix itself. It's all right. People can just
Yeah.
point and laugh at the blurry thing talking to them.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I think that will be super exciting. So Morditas is freed during the campaign. It's actually I think it's the stepson of the Herot god
Yes.
in Heoboria, like the Winterlands. And the kind of backstory there is that Morditas was doing this kind of rebel against Herot, and Herot imprisoned him. With his lance, and then we retrieve the lance in the campaign, and then we free Morditas in the same process. So obviously, I think they'll play on that. That Morditas will be enraged, and we have to defeat him or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to the seasonal mechanic there.
Yay, new baddie.
And they also, yeah, exactly right. And I think that will also be warmly welcomed in the community because everyone wants new bosses to fight and stuff like that. So hopefully it will be great. Yeah, and we also get changes to the factions like Circle of Fortune and the Merchants Guild. I'm excited to see what is introduced there. And we also get a new skill, Paladin. I think it was called Radiant Lance, which maybe kind of ties into the Lance of Herot, kind of a seasonal golden thread there, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it sounds interesting. So yeah, hopefully that will be fun, and we'll see even more different itemization mechanics possibly, and hopefully a lot of new uniques and stuff like that as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then you have the expansion, right? And I think that kind of there are some main things there that I really look forward to. Obviously, the closing of the campaign, like the last 2 chapters, will be very interesting to see. So we get a closure on the story, obviously. So that's one major thing, and also the next thing is skill sigils, and that's something I've personally been looking forward to ever since they added that on the roadmap. And it was actually on the early roadmap way back. The skill sigil stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was actually planned for season 5, which is the upcoming season now. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do there with the skill sigils. It's obviously some kind of manipulation of the skill tree and stuff like that. So maybe they make it even more configurable, the skills, and open up for a lot of different possibilities in terms of modifying the skills even further and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that.
I am also very excited because I didn't know about the skill sigils until I don't remember. There was another. It was not yourself. It was another content creator that had brought that up, and I was like, "What the hell are skill sigils? What is he talking about?" And I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, these could be really cool. These could definitely very much change how we play certain aspects of classes and masteries and whatnot." And I think it could be really cool. So I'm excited for that. I will tell you this. I had a really hard time saying Oribus. I don't call him Oribus. I call him the shade of Oreos. So it was really hard not to say Oreos when I asked you, how's the Oreo expansion going to be? Yeah, I don't call him Oribus. Yeah. He's shade of Oreos to me.
Shade of Oreos.
Yeah.
That sounds better though.
I have a few nicknames for some of the bosses and stuff like that, and that's one of them. I honestly, he's one of my favorite boss fights in the game right now. The Oribus. Wait, yeah, the Shade of Oribus. That's the one I enjoy fighting. I enjoy fighting him because to me, you're kind of getting like 3 different rewards at once. So I mean, the first and most basic one is you get to drop loot, right? He drops loot, and that's always fun. And then 2, you're making Last Epoch more difficult, which means better loot, and you reset that echo and more loot and more chances to juice your maps and get stuff that you're looking for, or whatever. So reward number 2. And then the third one is, for those that don't know, I hope everybody knows, is the further you go away from the center of the timeline, the higher chance on, I won't tell you why, maybe Pixel will do a video on it or something, but the further you go away from the center of your echo and do a shade of Oreo, he has the ability to drop some items that he won't when you do it up close. So it's pretty cool. So I like that too. So three rewards for me.
And it's also, I think, I mean, if you kind of scale it to high corruption, it's one of the hardest bosses in the game as well. So just the feeling of defeating it on pretty high corruption is also a great feeling. So it's also that mastery feeling of defeating a really powerful boss. So yeah,
I had a sentinel that could back in season 2, the Tombs of the Erased, I had a sentinel that could face tank just about anything, and he had some pretty high damage as well for being as tanky as he was, and I could just face tank everything. And I want to say it was like corruption, I think I have a video of it somewhere. I want to say it was like corruption 678, and I was doing a Orbis, Shade of Orbis, and I initiate the fight, he pops up and he lands in the middle, and I immediately just run in and just start beating the snot out of him, and I'm like, oh, he's not hurting me at all. And then he drops one of the void rocks on me, and it was immediate one hit, and I was like, oh well, that sucks. And then I looked at the damage was like, it was something like 5,000 or 8,000 damage, and then the overkill was another like 6,000. I was like, okay, well, he ain't playing around with me anymore.
Yeah, exactly right. So I mean, for most builds, I would say, unless you play like the strongest of the bunch, then yeah, it's one shot every time on higher corruption. So you have to avoid all of those attacks, or you're dead.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's. Before I ask you the last question, I think maybe you feel the same way. I really feel that like Last Epoch, in my opinion, did a lot of things right, and I'll keep what I think they did right for the best thing that they did right for last. But we could go on about the music and the sound design, the graphics, and especially the newest chapter they added to the campaign. It just looks so good. The different classes, the different skills you can do, and all of that. But I think the three biggest things that they hit absolutely out of the park is, number 1, the crafting system. I think the crafting system is great. It's easy enough that most people can understand it, yet complex and RNG enough that you are just not getting what you want every single time. And it forces you to, you bricked that staff or whatever unique that it was, and now you got to go and farm it again, farm the thing, craft more stuff, and it's cool. I enjoy it. I think they did that really, really well. The other thing, which we touched on earlier, I cannot get over the tombs and the Weaver tree and all of that. I think that's like one of the coolest things I've played in an ARPG in a while, and I really enjoy how it not only, and what's cool about the Weaver skill tree and the tombs and the idle enchanting is, yeah, it makes it easier to find certain things, but with that ease of finding that thing or for farming that thing, you've made the game harder for yourself. Oh, you want you imprinted an item in that one item slot that's to the far upper left hand side. well, now you have to fight more champions. Okay, well, you don't always get a champion, so you put in 3 nodes into the champion thing. Well, okay, you get, I think it's 3% or 4%, whatever the percentage is, more chance for champions. Well, now I want to add the fact that another champion will spawn with him, because I really want to farm this particular item, and it just keeps making the game more difficult. And I enjoy that. I don't want to just slap a boss around or a champion around and get rewarded with the item that I'm looking for. I want to work for it. I want to beat that champion or beat multiple champions and go, now I have that thing that I wanted. And it just feels so much better than just getting it handed to you, at least for me anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also it kind of, just by introducing the Weaver tree, you're kind of also introducing more content that is there, but it still kind of feels like more content, because now you want to target farm specific woven echoes. You want to, as you say, target farm specific enemies such as champions. So it kind of feels like, okay, now I have more content to play, because now I'm going to target farm this stuff to get this and this and min max my character even further. And then you obviously suddenly need to kind of, okay, so now I need runes when I got the imprinted item I wanted to drop from the champion. Then now I have to kind of respec into farming runes, and then I need to farm these echoes, cemeteries, tombs. So I mean, it's a brilliant way of kind of adding more content into the game that's already there.
Yeah,
sort of.
And well, before I get on to my last, the last part that I think they really just absolutely smacked amazingly well is, so I played a character when they first introduced that, and I kind of did everything I wanted to do within that season. I don't remember what build it was. I think it was possibly a rogue. I spec'd into the Weaver tree so that I couldn't use, I think I could only use 1 imprint slot and 1 of the echo imprint slots, but I put everything in, adding more champions, adding more rune prisons, and then the lizards, the loot lizards. And I left all the other points alone. I didn't touch them. All I was doing was making it, I made myself only pick up items from champions and lizards to see how far I could go. It didn't go very well. I didn't make it very far before I was just getting slapped around silly, but it was definitely a fun challenge. I think it was really fun and well worth doing if you ever get bored. I think it's super fun. But the thing I think they really, really did well is, hold on one second. Okay, bye. I love you too. Be careful, please. Okay. All right. Thank you. As I was saying, I think the thing that they hit just absolutely so well on this game is the end game and how hard you can take it. Like, because a lot of people ask me, well, what makes Last Epoch so special to you? The end game's kind of boring and you do the same echoes over and over again, and the maps don't really change that much. And I get that. Some people can look at it that way. For me, I look at it this way. I can make it as hard as I want. Well, how is that appealing? I think it's fun making it go harder and harder and harder and harder, to the point where now it's so hard, I have to get a specific thing to min-max my character or adjust something on my character, and then I can go higher and higher and higher. And then when I just can't do it anymore, I get another character and I see if I can do it again. And I enjoy that part immensely. I think that's the coolest part.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, as you say, if you kind of spec into some node combinations in the Weaver tree, then you can have some really tough fights, right? I mean, if you spec into the possessed exiled mage, and I think there's also like a twin exiled mage. And, yes. And then you can also have the champion appearing out of these rune prisons as well, right?
Yes.
When you open a rune prison, you have this node for champions popping up as well. And then you can also spec into the twin champions, as you were also saying, right? So, and then you suddenly have 2 possessed exile mages and 2 twin champions on high corruption. Well, good luck, because you're going to need it.
I did
right?
that.
So
I did that, where I did the twin and the possessed mage and the twin possessed mage. and I did a fight. I got into a fight, and it was only like corruption 400 or 500, but I get into a fight, and I think I'm doing well. I'm holding my own. I'm like, don't get me wrong, it's a tough fight. I'm having to use potions. I'm having to back off and kite them around and stuff. And then because I am a glutton for punishment, I accidentally pulled in a new group, and a primal beast decided to jump me, and I had the node spec where he brings a bunch of he brings a pack of guys.
Packs, from the ancient era.
So now I have a primal beast, two mages, and I think I had 2 or 3 champions on me. And yeah, I died. I'm not gonna lie, I died. I got smoked.
Yeah, that's a tough fight.
But it was fun. It was fun.
But it's fun, right? And as you say as well, you could kind of bump up the difficulty yourself apart from corruption as well. So like farming different bosses and having different enemies pop up and doing whatever you feel like, as long as in the tree. So I think it's a very great addition to the game for sure. The Weaver tree, I love it.
Yeah, me too. All right, so last question. What are you currently working on for yourself or for YouTube with regards to Last Epoch? Is there something special you're working on, or something you're cooking up for the channel, or for with even yourself with Last Epoch and gaming and all of that?
Yeah. So that's kind of a hard question to answer, I think, because obviously I'm always trying to get better and produce faster and getting more videos out, producing more value to the audience and stuff like that. So I think at the current moment in time, that's kind of what I focus on, like developing more of my systems in terms of producing content, like making it more, not kind of generic. I mean, more streamlined is the word that was looking. Yeah. But I don't hope that means generic as well, because I'm not going generic. I'm just going more kind of making the production line more efficiently, like in terms of making videos, because I tend to spend a lot of time on doing the videos. So I find myself like spending an average like maybe 20 hours on a video, and I think that's a little bit too much in terms of how fast I want to produce video and get it out there to the audience. So so that's kind of stuff I'm working on under the hood, trying to be more efficient, not being too much of a perfectionist all the time. Maybe because it's often like if you do like 90%, and it's often like the 10%, last 10% that you really spend time on, which is kind of stuff that most people won't notice anyway. Like this cool editing effect that you're trying out. And I mean, people are not sitting there till minute 10 and woo, applause for the cool edit effect that you spent 5 hours on. So it's kind of, stuff like that, trying to be more efficient in making videos to kind of try to get more content out there for the audience is kind of what I work on under the hood, basically. And apart from that, I'm just cracking on with mostly what I've been doing, like creating builds, trying to get some more tips videos out coming up, and stuff like that.
Awesome. I look, I am a little envious of the production quality of your videos, and how entertaining and engaging they are. They really are well done videos, and whatever you have planned, I'm sure they're going to be awesome, high quality videos, to be sure.
Yeah, thank you for that. It means a lot that you say that. And obviously, I'm not talking about reducing the quality here. I'm just kind of talking about, exactly, right? It's just like, how can I make this more efficient, right? Instead of spending 1 hour on looking this up every time and going through editing effects, like how can I kind of streamline this? How can I make this into a preset? How can I mean, all of that kind of stuff amounts to the whole production being much more efficient. So I'm trying to improve in that matter, and obviously I'm trying to improve in making even better content, like listening to feedback, just trying to give the audience what they want, and yeah, trying to deliver as much value in a short period of time, basically.
Before we go, I'm going to lift the hood a little as far as content creation goes. Like, you know, there's somewhat of a misconception that when people do videos, or they are full-time YouTubers or whatever, just making videos, they don't really see it as that there's like a lot of work that goes into it. And I'm not going to equate it to a 9-to-5 blue-collar job. So don't conflate that, right? Like, don't mistake what I'm saying. We're still doing something that we enjoy, and we have fun doing it. But there is work to it. And as I said, don't conflate it with a 9-to-5 blue collar job. I'm not saying that, but the amount of time that goes into a single video is pretty massive. Even if you want to do just a 10 to a 12 minute long video, you have a script that you got to write. You got to edit that script. You've got to get the gameplay footage. You've got to, if you're doing a build guide, you got to start from 0 to 100 with where you're going to be placing points, when you're going to make a switch, if you got to do a reset on your mastery, you know, after you've captured the video, after you've done the script and you've read the script audio, now you got to edit the audio, you got to edit the footage, you got to, you know, there's a lot of time that gets put into it. And as Pixel had said, you know, that very easily, a 10-minute video can very easily push 15 hours, 20 hours, 25 hours, 30 hours before, you know, it's ready to go out. And yeah, once again, I'm not going to conflate it with a 9-to-5, but there is a lot of work that goes into putting a video out.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, different formats have different work amounts as well. So if you're kind of doing more like just a free video, filming yourself and just talking without any prepared stuff, then obviously that's much faster to do. And I've kind of also shot myself in the foot a little bit, where I do this kind of more artistic approach to my delivery and stuff like that, which kind of requires more editing and thinking about how I should deliver it and stuff like that. So, but at the end of the day, that's what I love doing, right? So I'm not complaining at all. It's just that I would like it to take a little bit less time to maybe produce a little bit more videos than what I'm doing currently. So yeah, I'm hoping to get that rolling.
Well, good luck. I really hope you fine tune it to your standards. I think you will. Just takes time.
Yeah, I hope
right?
so. I hope so.
Right.
Yeah,
just
sure.
take time and experimentation. It all comes down to that.
Definitely. So
I have had an absolute blast having you on here, and I want to thank you again for taking time out of your schedule, and talking with me and talking with the audience. I really appreciate you doing that.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. I had a blast, and thank you for having me here. It's been an honor.
God, the honor is mine. I could go on and fanboy more, but you know, love your stuff, love your work. We're just to reiterate, where can everybody find you again?
I think the best way is to simply subscribe to my channel, just to stay tuned to everything I do, and check out my channel page and get to know me there. And yeah, you can always find me in other stuff as well, but I think that's a good way to start.
I agree. If you haven't, subscribe, hit that little bell thing on Pixel's channel, check out his stuff. He does a lot of really cool stuff. And honestly, I'm gonna gush again. I have really been enjoying your lore stuff. I am a lore guy. I love listening and watching lore stuff. So watching the little snippets that you've been doing of the different classes in Last Epoch has been super cool. Very much enjoy it. Can't wait to see more.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you so much. I'm planning on doing more lore as well, so we'll see what's coming up next.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, and really appreciate you taking your time to hang out with the nerds, the super nerds. And yeah, I once again love all your stuff. But guys, ladies and gents, that's it for now. So with that, you know what we do here. So long. Thanks for all the fish, and I'll see you guys later.